Buffalo Bills held practice earlier today. We'll get the official injury report later on this afternoon, but we did get a bit of a preview for it. Sal Capaccio reporting that during the media viewing portion of practice, Josh Palmer, Max Hairston, Ty Johnson, and Terrell Bernard were all not seen, while Shaq Thompson was in a red non-contact jersey. While for the Jaguars, a second straight missed day for left tackle Cole Van Lanen with a knee injury, and then cornerback Jerrion Jones with an illness. We'll get more on the Bills, though, when Sal Capaccio joins the show a little bit later on at 5 p.m. Major news, though, in the AFC came courtesy this morning. The Miami Dolphins firing head coach Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons in charge. McDaniel was 0-2 in the playoffs with Miami, but the team has not actually even made the postseason in either of the last 2 years. Dolphins are also in the market for a general manager. And then Tampa Bay is making a number of coaching changes. Most notably, offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard is out after just 1 year. And with that, the Bucs will now be on to their 5th different offensive coordinator in as many years. To the Sabres, they are down in New York City tonight. They take on the Rangers with puck drop at 7. It's a 6 p.m. pregame. Colton Ellis expected to get the start in net for the Sabres, and with Igor Shesterkin on IR, the anticipation is it'll be Jonathan Quick in net for the Rangers. We've also got 10 other games in the league tonight. Most notably, also at 7, Montreal hosts Florida, and the Flyers have the Maple Leafs in town. 9 p.m., the Sens are in Colorado versus the Avalanche, and then 2 games at 10 to wind down your evening. Vegas hosts the Blue Jackets and the Wild there in Seattle versus the Kraken. And in college football, the semifinals do start tonight. First up, the Fiesta Bowl. Miami takes on Ole Miss for a spot in the national championship at 7:30. Miami last played for a national title in 2002, while Ole Miss has never played for a national title, at least in the modern era, with a national championship game. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Show.
Hey, put a little. I never get this line out the first time. It's not even good. Hey, put a little bit more in there, cowboy.
And the Bulldog.
What's your degree in?
Kicking ass and taking names.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
Sorry, my phone was blocking my mic button because I have Arsenal Liverpool on my phone on Peacock. I really need to follow that while we're working. I really need to have
It's
that.
important. Yeah.
It's so important. Did you hear that little noise I made about 10 seconds ago? Ooh.
Yes. What was that?
It's because I remembered the line was today.
Oh, my gosh. Well, it's good to remember things.
Well, it's good to remember things, and it's good to know what you're supposed to do for work.
Right, yes.
But really, I was just excited that there was a line segment. Are we still doing that? Has anybody said anything? Are we doing it forever?
Nobody has said anything.
Is it still football season? Is it not?
I think so.
It is?
I don't know. I haven't had a FanDuel spot since I got back from vacation.
Maybe there's no line then.
I'd
miss it.
I feel like we would have been notified if the line had. Well,
really?
No.
No.
Let me reel that back in. Whatever. Let's just.
No one knows if the line is still a
fine.
feature.
We should just.
No one even knows.
Just do it.
I'm excited to have it, so I'm just going to do it.
Okay.
If it's not sponsored, then I'll do it without the sponsor. It'll be brought to you by the Woodhouse or something. Take liberties. Mike McDaniel out in Miami. So the coaching casualties in the AFC East in the Sean McDermott era, if you will, are piling up. The Dolphins will have a 4th coach during the McDermott tenure, assuming McDermott is still here.
Presumably, yeah, right.
The Patriots are on their 3rd. The Jets are on their 5th. So the next Dolphins coach would make it 12 if McDermott returns, which is likely, I think, to be even maybe a little safe about it. Which coach has appeared twice on the list?
Rex Ryan. No, Rex Ryan was here.
Not Rex Ryan.
Sorry, that was a terrible guess. The parameters were clear. I rushed to the first name that I thought of that coached 2 of the teams in the division. I ran in blindly into the building and didn't even realize what I was looking for when I got there. Let's see. Who?
It's forgivable.
Yeah, not really. It was a terrible job. Twice.
Yes. If he gets New England someday, he'll have all 3. I'll help you.
I don't.
Adam Gase. Adam Gase was the coach of the Dolphins.
Oh, wow,
When
yeah.
McDermott arrived. Then he was the coach of the Jets. After that, Todd Bowles was the coach of the Jets when McDermott signed on
Was
here.
the Dolphin thing, like, did he take over in season for
Nope.
somebody?
3 years.
Wow.
And then
I don't remember that at all. Like,
Oh,
I feel like, you know what it is? Because the New York introduction with the news conference was so kind of out there that I feel like that had to be the first time he'd had a head coaching job. So I just completely black out the fact that he was in Miami and would have coached against the Bills 6 times.
one more good, perhaps, Miami trivia question from the same season. You were off when this came up last week, and it was Sal. The day the Bills break the drought, they beat Miami.
You're right.
Who's the starting quarterback?
For Miami?
Yes. He was replaced immediately in the game for whatever reason.
Yeah, no, I know that I'm going to know the name. I'm not going to it's not going to pop up. I don't think in my brain here.
The backup's name, who plays almost the entire game, is David Fales.
Okay.
The season-long starter is Jay Cutler.
Right.
So the 17 Dolphins, you've completely erased from your memory.
Yeah.
It's the Jay Cutler, Adam Gase
Yeah.
time.
Well, that's
Not really an era.
That's the drought ended, so it's like a post-drought life here, and I'm forgetting everything that happened in the drought.
Might be healthy.
Not entirely, but I obviously have completely forgotten that. I do remember that Jay Cutler played for the Dolphins, and I absolutely remember that there was a somewhat established starting quarterback in that game. You know, we went into that game knowing they were going to need help, but still, go win your game and hope for the best, right, between the Bengals and the Ravens. And I remember being like, Cutler leaving that game going, all right. I mean, not that he was killing it or anything. I mean, did he ever play again after that, or was that the end of the line for him?
That was the last game of his career.
Right. So still, though, he'd had some days in the league and was a pretty good player for a while. So him leaving that game, like, okay, I think we got this.
I got one more for you. If you can stand it, I've got one more for you. Miami.
I'm already on
tilt. You are.
After the Rex Ryan blast.
The last decade of the Dolphins, I liked McDaniel. I'm
so did
sympathetic. I think he's good. I think somebody's going to be lucky to have him. The last game the Bills played, oh no, Rex Ryan is here in 16 too. All right, the Dolphins coach for the second of the 2 meetings with the Bills in 15. They had 2 different coaches that year for the 2 Bills meetings. The Bills won both games.
Was one of them Sperano?
No. R.I.P. No. Yeah. One of them is Joe Philbin.
Okay. I can see him.
The other was the Dolphins coach when they traveled to Buffalo November 8th, 2015, a game the Bills would win 33-17. What's the most memorable thing from this game? Carlos Williams busted a run. He had 2 touchdowns.
All right.
Who's the Dolphins coach? Still in the league.
As a head coach?
Yes. Take a sip of coffee, then time's up. Hello, Twitch.
Still in the league. And come on, I need a moment with this.
All right. You know it out there? Do you know it out there? You might know it.
No. Okay. I'm through the AFC. I'm rummaging through here. I'm trying to I want to get something. I want to get something right. I'm sorry to be boring our audience like
while
this.
You're perusing the teams in the NFL, 5 years went by before he got another chance.
Campbell.
Dan Campbell.
Yeah, he had a stint with the
there
Dolphins.
It is.
That's right.
All right,
I
you're
needed
back.
To see the Lions. All right,
you're so back.
Yeah.
Zach Taylor was on that staff.
Zach Taylor. Did the Bills play the Bengals next year? I'm trying to remember what their
No,
that's
right?
too bad because I'm
Baltimore is the AFC North opponent next year.
I'm ready to go on hating him. For whenever it comes up.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
the thing with being mad about they stopped the game for Myles Garrett. Did you see this? I was away. No, that was just last. No, I was here. They lost to the Browns, and in his post-game news conference, Zach Taylor complained about all the hoopla around Myles Garrett getting the record-breaking sack and how they stopped the game. And he used phrasing something like, "We're out here fighting for our lives."
Okay. That's bad.
I mean,
you're not.
Dude, you're the Bengals. You're eliminated. You're playing the Browns. And, just stop already.
I don't care if you're even like Jacksonville.
Right.
You're not fighting for your lives. Sorry, buddy.
Was really just out of line.
Do you know the Jacksonville, so they flushed their staff after last season or even during, and the GM eventually goes when they want Liam Cohen, and then he apparently withdraws from consideration because of who the GM is. They fire the GM so that they can approach Liam Cohen again. Press Taylor was their offensive coordinator. That's Zach Taylor's brother. The last 3 years before this year was a Press Taylor operation, the Jacksonville offense. Well,
I was glad to be reminded of all that earlier this week. I'm not sure who brought it to our attention. If it was maybe our guest yesterday on the Jaguars is the one who made the point. Because that got pretty – there was a point in time where did the Buccaneers maybe social media welcome Liam Cohen back as the coordinator? I think Tampa for a while thought they were keeping their guy as a coordinator, and then suddenly he was, the plane turned around and he went back to Miami or back to
something like that.
Ended up taking the job, but yeah.
Well, it's 11. So New England, Belichick, Mayo, Vrabel, Miami, Gase. Bowles.
Bowles is
Flores.
Flores, right.
Gase, Flores, McDaniel. Jets are Bowles, Gase, Saleh, Jeff Ulbrich.
Oh, sure, interim. That counts.
Aaron Glenn.
All right.
11 coaches. So I got a McDermott question today. This is my 5th show of the day. I'm exhausted. Yes, you know how it is. When
feel free to find.
Phone...
I'm just sitting around, so I mean, I don't know if people just don't like me. I'm not getting asked anything, so funnel something my way if you're tired.
It wasn't. It's like 5 shows. What does that mean? I just sort of.
10
that's
minutes.
How I talk to my wife. Right. Oh, I got 5 shows today. Yeah. What am I, Celine?
Yeah, because I don't feel real good. I don't feel real good when I walk in the door after work and my wife is there and she says, "You barely were gone."
I know, right?
She's gone for 14 hours. She leaves the house to go to work. I mean, it's
real work.
It's like she's gone. I'll see you later this afternoon.
Well, to your point. Number 1 was Purple Insider. Matthew Collar and I drafted 2 fantasy teams for the playoffs.
Right.
1.
Yep.
2 is Filippone.
Oh, you did that today. Good.
I got one of his questions for you in a minute.
Okay.
3 was actually it was Goat District. I talked to my friend JD up there about different plans. It wasn't for broadcast, so that doesn't really count. 4 was Kansas City.
All right.
And I rattled these off to my wife. She's like, Kansas City. I'm like, yeah, they're bored.
Right.
I've never been on that show when it wasn't either the summer or there was a game.
Chiefs are playing. Right.
Yeah. And I got the McDermott question from them, Cody and Alex. And what's funny is, so I was on my way here. And I pulled over. I think I'd recommend doing that. Driving, it's. I pull over for these interviews.
If you're really concentrating and want, I agree. Talking to my wife about what to pick up at the grocery store, I can accomplish that while I'm holding the steering wheel.
So I pull over and dutifully I signal. And at the end of the interview, 20 minutes later, Alex Gold is like, I got to ask you, because people are texting, have you just been at the longest light of your life waiting to turn? Oh, no, because halfway through
you had the blinker on the whole time?
I had the blinker. Halfway through it, I turned it off, recognized they might hear that.
I always said, I don't know if I've ever even said it on the air, maybe one time. The number of times you can hear people's turn signals clicking. The phones are so good now. They pick everything up.
Right. So I said, sorry about that. I'm not at a light. I pulled over next to a cemetery. And Cody said, well, that seems appropriate.
Oh, well, hey now.
That's funny. But
and did you shoot back with, what was your record?
No, I don't. See, I'm not the type anyway, but I don't feel like I have any status in an argument about with Chiefs
you
people.
You can't really trash talk Chiefs people.
Are people doing that right now? Is that what online is right now? Is it Bills fans sort of punching the Chiefs while they're down because they're not even in the playoffs?
Maybe the Ravens too. Even though the Ravens aren't outranking you, but like there's always been this, this tension within the fan base. More Baltimore than Kansas City, I feel like even.
Okay.
But whatever, because of Lamar and Josh.
I'm glad to be blind to it, but
yeah.
But you can't. What kind of standing do you have?
Yeah, no, you can't.
Sort of trash talking the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's not my style anyway.
Yeah, I know. But even if it were like, because I can play that way if you want to play that way, right? I'm not really that guy either, but I can fall into it. But that's not a position where I would feel confident throwing a punch.
No.
Sort of be like, yeah, okay, scoreboard.
So Andrew asked me, it's a FanDuel radio.
I'm familiar.
There's FanDuel TV. It was on here yesterday. It was horse racing all day. In the newsroom.
Not just horse racing, harness racing.
Better. In the newsroom, they had FanDuel harness racing on. A DK horse.
I was going to mention that to you. I didn't know if you noticed or not. Yeah.
And then it was poker.
I never saw
after
the poker.
That.
Right.
Are we 247 out there? No, one of the TVs is on harness racing and poker.
Yeah, I don't know.
I respect it. So he put to me 5 Bills who are posted receiving yards props at FanDuel. And he said, which one of these, if any, do you like? And I could get the numbers. I don't remember the numbers, but Shakir was something like 44.5.
They're going to be modest, yeah, for sure.
Kincaid was maybe 38.5. Knox was something like 19.5. James Cook was the next one at, say, maybe the same, like 19.5. And then I think also it was 19.5 Cooks. And I said, well, I think I like the tight ends the most here.
That's what I was going to say. The two, I might like both of them to go over those numbers.
But Andrew's like, didn't Brandon Cooks just go over 100 yards against the Eagles? And he did, like 4 for 102 or something like that.
Yeah.
And then they rested him for the Jet game. And that's sort of the new, for me, funniest state of affairs with the Bills receiving core is that, like, Brandon Cooks needs to be preserved. So 19.5, and Andrew's kind of like, isn't that one play? But what do you think of that number being so low? Is it weirdly low, or is it just sort of obvious? What is it for you? 19.5. Brandon Cooks. Is he our number 2?
I would be reluctant to do it. I mean, if they complete a pass to him, he'll go over. Like I could easily see him catching a 30-yard pass. Maybe only one. But the thing is, I feel like they're going to try that. They might even try that. This could be a game where all the time, their run defense, our run offense, we're going to come out and bully you. I could see them doing what they did in Atlanta on Sunday. If you remember what they did in Atlanta, which was put the big people on the field and only send a couple of people out, one of them being Palmer, deep, and they hit it. And I could see them
He got hurt on the play.
No, he got hurt later. He had another 16-yard catch after that, and he got hurt on that one.
Sorry.
But the I could see them wanting to do that. It's just if they don't hit it, they might try it one more time. And if they don't hit that, then that's it for Brandon Cooks. You know what I mean? It's like there's going to be volume there. It's like they're going to keep trying that, I don't think. But I think they will try him down the field, maybe even early, to see if they can catch Jacksonville, not expecting it. I mean, I've even thought this through to the extent that if I'm Jacksonville, I'm reminding my defense in meetings about this Atlanta example I just made and being aware of, listen, if they come out with the 3 tight ends and the fullback and like Brandon Cooks, just don't assume that they're just going to try to snowplow us. They might try to go over the top of us. So they'll try shots to Cooks. I think they rested him with a purpose. They feel like he's going to matter to them. I just don't know that, they got to hit it, and they won't try it 6 times.
That nothing is going to phase Jacksonville's defense. Yeah, I think the Bills could do all right straight up. But is there any chance after all this conversation, wouldn't it be hilarious if like Brandon Cooks or whoever else you want for this is just like, I mean, 10 for something and something, just like a huge game.
Right.
There is just almost, I mean, all these interviews I'm doing in our shows, like I've said, I just can't see a path to it. Shakir has had games. He's had 100-yard games. He's had games where he's north of 6 catches, like he's done it. And maybe it's always like a breakaway run or yards after the catch or something where you get that, like it's 7 for 100 and something like that.
And there's a 55-yarder in there. Yeah.
But it's really hard for me I'm not predicting it. And I don't know that Jacksonville has to have that conversation, right? Like I think they'll know what they're getting. I think Allen running is the thing that you don't have to be well prepared for because you really might not know that until you get it, like what you do with that. But these receivers, I don't know. Like I don't know if you have to go to a special class to prepare for this offense.
Well, the thing about the example I'm making, though, is if your safeties see that, just on a very from an entry-level standpoint, the big people are out there. Here's Cook. This is the best running team in the league. Just don't assume they're running on this play. Don't come downhill because if Brandon Cooks is out there, they may try to hit you over the top. That's all. That is not deep thinking. I mean, I already said it. Like you got to remind them, but it shouldn't be hard to defend. And if they do run it and they hit a crease, well, at least your safeties are back there, and maybe it's 20 yards instead of a house call. Or something like that.
Bills over 300 net passing yards in a game this year twice. Week 1, the comeback, and that wasn't like they were shut down before the comeback against the Ravens, but they piled a lot of that up.
251 yards in the fourth quarter.
Okay. Passing?
Yes.
Well, there it is.
Allen went for 251 in the fourth quarter of that game.
I take it back.
That is a number I
were shut down.
Will not forget.
The only other game this year where they went over 300 net passing yards was Tampa. 317. 95 in Cleveland. Well, we will see. We're a day closer. Bills and Jaguars Sunday at 1. Bills favored by 1.5 at last look. We will talk about the lines, wild card weekend, probably not the Sabres, but yes to the college playoff game tonight with Joe Ostrowski from Chicken Dinner coming up at 3:30. Longtime Odyssey sports betting analyst. We have the line today, as has been mentioned. Don't miss that. And Sal will join us at 5. Latest on injuries and more. Pregame for Sabres Rangers coming up at 6. Paul Hamilton joins us then.
From New York City.
Oh, great. That's where the game is.
Colton Ellis expected to get the starting goal.
Okay. Sure.
It's his turn.
Oh, it's Fred's turn. All right, so that's coming up as we go through the day. We will look for your calls as we go. Next hour is wide open. 803-0550 is the number. Mike McDaniel out in Miami, the hockey game tonight, and a lot in between on the Bills-Jaguars matchup.
When you said you like him, somebody's going to get right, strike gold here. Hiring McDaniel. Do you mean as a head coach or you mean as an OC?
I don't know. I mean, I think he did pretty well as the head coach of the Dolphins in 4 years. They weren't winning anything. They haven't won a playoff game in 25 years. He got there twice. It's in the Bills division. They couldn't beat the Bills. They couldn't beat the top teams. That was kind of their brand. But I think he's excellent as an offensive coach.
Me too. I would hire him in a second if I had a need for an offensive coordinator. And I don't know that he won't ever get another shot as a head coach. I just doubt he waltzes into one off of this game.
Yeah, I guess I'd agree with that. But somebody probably will be lucky to have him next year.
I'm inclined to agree with that.
If he wants to work, he'll work.
Just wanted to clarify about head coach versus coordinator. That's all. But I know
it's not that different to me.
It had its moments, but last year happened. I mean, there was borderline insurrection on his watch.
Well, he recovered, and this year started terribly, and they fired the GM, and everybody seemed to expect he would be fired immediately, or just this was not salvageable. Then it looked like he was staying until John Harbaugh got fired, and maybe that's what this meant. But now we've got 8 vacancies, I think. Pretty good number. Joe Ostrowski next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
A lot of weapons. When you just talk special teams, obviously their kicking game is elite. You know, the trades that they made with getting Jacoby Myers on the offensive side has definitely paid dividends. And, you know, it looks like they've got the guys in the spots where they want them now. I think they're 7-1 since they picked him up, maybe. And then, you know, picking up the corner on the other side from Cleveland, good player as well. And he's fortified and kind of solidified that side of the ball for him in terms of the corner piece.
Sean McDermott, definitely knows who Jacoby Myers is. Another Jacoby Myers mention. I don't know. Maybe that means I wish I had him. Maybe it doesn't. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, joined on the Wester Hotline by venerable sports betting analyst Joe Ostrowski. He's known for his daring and often successful futures bets, also youth baseball. And Joe is the co-host of Chicken Dinner with Sam Panayotovich, who joins us on Fridays, of course. Joe, how's life?
Yeah. Already drama on the youth baseball front, but we will not discuss that. Less than days before our first practice, but who the hell cares? We finally made it, fellas. We're here. These next 5 days, starting tonight, are going to be awesome.
College football tonight.
That's right.
I'm guessing you don't mean Sabres-Rangers. Sabres having won 11 of 12.
That's on TV, too. It's on the screen.
Good job.
It'll be there.
All right.
I think.
That was not on.
Channel.
It was not in your intro. Nothing about hockey was mentioned in your.
I just said a lot of sports tonight. You went and ran with it.
Well, lay it out for us, Joe. I mean, tonight
Yeah.
is the semifinals for starters.
Yeah, and the college football front. It's an odd situation. I don't know if you guys watched that Georgia Ole Miss game last week with the holiday time and all that.
I did.
That was awesome. Was
Yeah.
it not I mean, Chambliss, just the way he gets out of trouble. That's what I think this game is going to boil down to. The big strength for the Canes, and they showed it against Ohio State, is up front, that they dominate the trenches. And, we were on Miami, both myself and Sam, but I was kind of kicking myself afterwards. I'm like, why didn't it hit me that Miami's winning this game? Because the big weakness going into that was the offensive line for the Buckeyes, and that's the big strength on the other side for the Canes. So are they going to be able to corral Chambliss? It just felt like miracle play after miracle play. One interesting angle with this one, with the Ole Miss, I mean, it's just such an odd situation. When you have a head coach leave, now you have the interim guy, and then the offensive mastermind that left came back after the fans were swearing at him as he's getting on the plane, and then they win a couple of playoff games. But those first 2 playoff games against opponents they saw in the regular season. So now it's going to be a little bit different against Miami. Ole Miss is fun. It's a great story. They're the long shot now. They're 6-1 for the title odds. Miami, the favorite. It's down to 3, so you are getting some, quote, smart money on the Ole Miss side, but I do like Miami to win and cover this game.
And they have the coaches that coached the Georgia game are there. The thing I didn't pay attention since that game ended, but during that game, the Ole Miss Georgia game, there was just a lot of talk about how a lot of that staff. There was a big LSU recruiting weekend and hosting guys, and that they were going to be maybe compelled to be there, that Kiffin would want them to be there, but they still have most of that staff that is in place at Ole Miss, right?
They do. Yes,
Okay.
They do. But it's also weird because if you hear the interim coach talk, and he's asked about the offense, it's kind of like they're on different teams right now. Right? It's very weird. Well, I don't really know what's going on with the offense. I just hope they score a lot of points.
Right.
It's odd. But, yeah, the Blue Bloods are out, guys. I don't know if this is going to be a good thing as far as excitement ratings, in my world, the betting handle and all that. Does it feel like the same excitement? I think it's cool because we got into a rut where in college football it's the same teams year after year. I have to be honest, with it being game day, I don't know that there's the same buzz had in Ohio State, Bama, Georgia made it.
This is what happens in the Final Four.
Yeah.
We love our upsets, and then we get to the Final Four, and it's George Mason, and who?
Right.
So it's a little bit like that. I had Miami to win last week after talking to you, Joe. So
That's right.
Thank you for that. That was pretty good odds.
And tomorrow we get Oregon, Indiana.
2 states. 2 of the states.
Any quick thoughts on that before we move on to Wild Card Weekend, Joe?
Yeah, I'll keep it shorter here. Sam will have a lot on this one tomorrow. It's his favorite play of the CFP with you guys here. But, yeah, you're going to have a Big Ten team. We saw this matchup during the season, and in that game it was a tie game, middle of the fourth quarter. And I think it's going to be a similar situation. Feels like it's gotten out of hand with Indiana. Like, they're talked about as they are unbeatable. They have no weakness. Offense, defense, the coaching, discipline, all of that. I don't agree with that. I think Oregon can hang in this game. They can pull off the upset. I'm going to be on the Oregon side.
Pretty cool. You get 2 of the top 2 quarterbacks, maybe both top 5 picks at worst.
Top 2?
Top 2 maybe even, right? Yeah, that's
they're
pretty
top
hot.
2 in odds.
Yeah.
Mendoza's the favorite to go to the Raiders, and the second favorite is Moore.
If he comes out, right?
Yeah.
That'll be the question for him. That's the Jets if he wants it. It's a question. It's a question.
Options.
Yeah. Okay, so Bills-Jaguars, Joe. Bills favored by 1.5. I hope you saw this incredible Jacksonville stat about their history when the total is 49 or higher. They are 1-25, and their 1 was the first of these games in 1999. They have lost 25 straight games where the total was 49 or higher, most of which were games they were underdogs in. They haven't been good very often. I'm not sure it means anything to this game, but it's an incredible stat. Bills -1.5 and 52.
Speaking to that total, the one thing that keeps popping up to me with Liam Cohen being the guy, naturally a lot of people talk about the offense and Trevor Lawrence. We're in the midway point. People are having real conversations. Oh, he's got to move on from Trevor Lawrence. He's not the guy. He's going to handpick his own guy. And look at where we are right now with this 8-game winning streak and what they've done. Now, not the most challenging schedule, but to win 8 in a row in this league, still a tough thing to do, and a couple of impressive wins in there. Everything points to the Jacksonville defense for me. Early in the season, it felt like a lot of this was turnover-based, or that's what people were thinking. And then as the season played out in full, I think we can walk away and say, no, this is actually a legitimate defense. So that stout rushing defense, how do they do against Cook and Allen on the ground? That's where I come with this game. It's just everything points to what are they able to do. Now, if I'm going to oversimplify it, I look at Josh Allen, even though there have been some struggles on the road. It's a pick 'em. Am I going to go against the best quarterback in this playoff in a pick 'em scenario? No, I'm not, but I can't sit here and honestly tell you that I have the most confidence in the world. I think it's a pick 'em for a reason, and just the way the AFC is set up, I think it's unfortunate that this is the Bills' first opponent because I see the winner of this game making a deep run.
That's how Bulldog feels. Best 2 teams.
Well, yeah. Ross Tucker said the same thing to us on Tuesday. And I was feeling like for weeks here, really after you mentioned, not the hardest schedule, but they did a number on Denver before the holidays. And that was those 2 days after that were the last 2 days I worked until after New Year's. And that really put a scare in me, seeing them do that to Denver. So I was thinking all along, that's the team I least want to see, is Jacksonville, because of a lot of the points you made. The run defense has been so good all year long. But I'm reminded as this week has gone on, I mean, it was nowhere near a pick'em last year when Denver came here. The Bills were huge favorites, and it turned out rightly so. But there was a lot of talk about Denver's defense overall and their run defense, and the Bills just chewed them up. So, we'll see. Maybe Jacksonville's had, undeniably, they've had an excellent run defense all year, but maybe they ain't seen this yet,
Yeah, for sure. Am I going to pick the elite offense or, to this point, the elite defense? In this scenario, I'm going to take the elite offense. That's just where I'm at. That's where it comes down to with this game. And plus, I can't, be consoling Sam for the next few months.
Sam has so much money invested in Bills futures. It's kind of been fun listening to you guys through the year, through the football season, and then talking to you. And there have been times when I'm tuning in to see what your angle is on a Bills game, and you're often asking us how we feel about different games through the course of the season, Survivor bets, whatever it is. And I think maybe I would say your shows have been more optimistic than ours about them. I mean, we're doing these road hits, and it sort of feel like you're invited on shows to rep the Bills. And I go on and I don't know. I don't really trust this that much. It's more of an Allen is the whole team than I think it's ever been. So, sure. I mean, if it reminds me of last year, Joe, when we would talk in the playoffs, and are you really going to, or is this 2 years ago, or both? Are you really going to bet against Mahomes? Do you really want to do that? Are you sure? He's getting points. Are you sure? And this is a little bit the same with Allen. Are you sure you want Trevor Lawrence in the gunfight over Josh Allen? Are you sure about that? Think about it before you do anything.
Right. You got to play this out. We've talked about it as well, and it's funny. We were just like an hour ago. We were talking to the Westgate Superbooks, John Murray, about where the money's coming in. He's, it's all Jaguars bets, But that's early in the week, and that's usually sharper money. And then we talk to somebody else. They're like, "Oh, Bills are the public side. There's no doubt about it." The bookmakers I talk to, I think it's going to be very balanced where people stand on this game coming into it. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to it. There are two, it feels like, primo games, but and I'm sure you guys have discussed it this week. Well, it is a coin flip for a reason. If it goes the other way, is there going to be a ninth coach, right? I mean, we talked about how it's set up without Mahomes, without Lamar, and what continues to happen. It feels like something big has to happen if they lose the first playoff game in this spot.
Well, Bulldog has said the same thing. I think maybe it's more the GM who's on the line if they lose than the coach, but I have no idea. It's the time of year where everybody's reporting and speculating, and I haven't heard a word about. With Mike Tomlin, it was every minute you would hear they better win. Yeah. And even now, it's still possible. It sounds like it's still possible that there be a change.
Yeah.
That's double the tenure of McDermott, but so was Harbaugh, and that happened.
And around here, it's LaFleur.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah. How about that?
That's because at least you've got Jay Glazer on that, right? I feel like that's everyone. I think I won't speak for everyone, but he carries a lot of weight, I think, and he included LaFleur in a not sure column last week on pregame shows. And I've not heard anyone it's just speculation about McDermott. It's really just adding up, looking at the ledger and just adding it up. He's been there a long time. They've not gotten over the hump. There's all this pressure that's largely being created from outside about how they have to get there this time because of no Mahomes and Jackson. But I don't think there's a sniff of it around the Bills. I think it's just all circumstantial. But if at least LaFleur, you've got Jay Glazer sort of saying there's maybe some question there. And I would respect that more than just throwing darts about McDermott myself.
Yep, seems right. Joe, Packers-Bears, it's pretty hot.
Yeah. They just played twice in December.
Yep.
Now we get a third time in a very short period of time. And if you look at how those games played out, well, the one in Lambeau Field, Week 14, it came down to the very end. The Packers dominated the first half. Bears dominated the second half. Caleb Williams has a chance to tie the game. Maybe they go for two there. If they convert, throws a pick into the end zone, has not thrown many interceptions on the year. And then a couple weeks later in Week 16, here in Chicago, a crazy finish. Bears are down by 10, 2 minutes to go, and they somehow win in overtime on a 46-yard pass to DJ Moore. There was a recovered onside kick. Just a wild finish. Guys, the last five times these two teams have played one-score games. It always seems to come down to the very end. And a lot of Bears fans are certainly surprised at how far they've come, being the 2 seed this season. Bears can't start slow again. It's been constant. Starting slow, having to recover. They keep covering the point spread in the second half. Caleb Williams down. We've talked about it so many times in the final 2 minutes, and then he comes out on the right side. Well, the last couple of weeks, it has not worked out that way. Lose by a field goal to the Lions, lose in a high-scoring affair to San Francisco on Sunday Night Football a couple weeks ago, but that's kind of what happens. What I find interesting, and you could bring this up with a few games, is you've got 3 quarterbacks making their debut in the postseason. Caleb, May with New England, and Bryce Young with Carolina. Historically, those quarterbacks don't do very well. But if you look more recent, and we wonder if it's the newer quarterback where they don't give in to the pressure, or they're not as impacted by maybe something they've been dealing with their entire lives. They're about 500 in their first playoff game. So I wonder if it's a big deal. I don't think Caleb is going to be impacted. He's facing a defense that he just saw twice, and now you're facing him without Micah Parsons. The Packers getting healthier. Love first game off the concussion. Jacobs is good to go. It looks like Zach Tom, the right tackle, is going to be healthy. Green Bay is looking good. I think it's going to come down to the very end again. If you're forcing me to make a pick, I would say, all right, I think it's going to be Green Bay, but it's probably going to come down to the very last possession of the game. I do think it's higher scoring in the second half. We'll see if wind ends up being a factor. But on the Bears side of things, Loveland has really come on, guys. So props-wise, I'm looking at him. His number's 40.5.
Keep that in mind for our fantasy build tomorrow when we speak. Loveland will be interesting. Tight end's really interesting this year. You'll one guy per team, and we need one tight end at least. We can pick up to 5 if we want, but
okay.
Loveland is going to be popular. I wonder what Kincaid might be if he gets the clean bill of health. We will see. Joe, thanks for today. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy it.
Thanks, guys. Best of luck to you as well, and we'll talk next week.
Joe Ostrowski, Chicken Dinner with Sam Panayotovich. Check it out on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. We have open lines here for a while until Sal joins us at 5. The Sabres are in New York to play the Rangers tonight. I've got the referee, the crew for Bills-Jaguars when we come back.
I thought you were about to tell us who the officiating crew for the Sabres-Rangers game was.
They don't have names anymore.
Andy Van Hellemond.
Hockey refs don't have names anymore. They're all the same. They're all just nameless, numbered guys. Well, football doesn't have their names on the back either.
They're robots, actually.
Yeah, it's all...
The aliens are already here.
No one knows any hockey refs. I'm saying it. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog at 803-0550. Lines are open for you. This is WGR. The Bulldogs, Sal Capaccio at 5. All times Eastern, Paul Hamilton at 6. Pregame, Sabres at Rangers. Bright sunshine today here in the outskirts of Buffalo. Is this the outskirts? Or are we too close to Buffalo to be outskirts, Amherst?
I think we're too close. Yeah, we're like
inskirts.
A first ring suburb. I can't.
How far away do you need to be outskirts? 30 miles?
I think beyond the town you're in can't butt up to the city line.
Has to be separate.
Has to be separate.
Has to be some other town in between.
Like Clarence could be outskirts.
Ooh,
I think.
That's very outskirts
Akron,
to me.
Out. East
Inskirts.
Aurora.
Outskirts?
Outskirts.
One word?
Yes. Outskirts.
Let's go to Eric here. Hi, Eric.
That's how my phone does it anyway.
Hey, how are you guys?
Good, Eric. Thank you for calling.
Yep, thanks. Born and raised in Buffalo. I live down in Fort Lauderdale now. Still a huge Bills fan. And I just heard today from you guys that McDaniel's gone. Sorry for that, but I hope it works out well for the Bills. I'd love to see the Buffalo Bills go after him as an offensive coordinator. I think that's a better position for him, a better job for him. I just wanted to put that out there and listen to your response.
I like him a lot.
I do too. There's already reports that the Lions have reached out to him.
They have the opening and their season's over.
Right. So you might not even get a crack at him if you even end up having an opening.
Right, which is TBD.
Right.
Thanks, Eric. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog back after sports. This is WGR.
Not too many changes from yesterday's official injury report for the Bills. The three changes are Matt Milano and Matt Prater now being full participants after not practicing yesterday, and then TJ Sanders added with a shoulder injury but was a full participant. While for the Jaguars, it's a second straight missed day for left tackle Cole Van Lanen with a knee injury and cornerback Jarian Jones with an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. We'll get more on the Bills when Sal Capaccio joins the show in just about an hour at 5 p.m. Major changes, though, in the AFC. The Miami Dolphins are firing head coach Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons in charge. McDaniel was 0-2 in the playoffs with Miami, but the team hasn't even made it back to the postseason in either of the last 2 seasons. The Dolphins, they are also in the market for a general manager. And then Tampa Bay, they are also making a number of coaching changes. Most notably, though, offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard is out after just 1 year. And for the Bucs, this now means they're going to be on to their 5th straight offensive coordinator in as many years. Sabres down in New York City tonight to take on the Rangers. Puck drop at 7, pregame at 6. Colton Ellis is expected to get the start in net for the Sabres. And then with Igor Shesterkin on IR, the anticipation is it's going to be Jonathan Quick in net for the Rangers. And in college football, the semifinals do start tonight. The Fiesta Bowl is first up. Miami takes on Ole Miss for a spot in the national championship at 7:30. Miami last played for a national title in 2002, while Ole Miss has never played for a national title, at least in the modern era, when there was a national championship game. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
It's Mike Schopp.
Name any word in less than a second. I will tell you how many letters are in it. But I cannot do anything mechanically. I don't even know how to put a game together for 3-year-olds.
And the Bulldog.
Fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
On WGR Sports Radio 550.
I've got something you might like.
Well, we'll see about that. All right, sorry.
Do you have a favorite ref?
No, absolutely not.
Do you have a least favorite ref? I do.
There's a new guy that isn't a hockey league that's all jacked up that I feel like is really always just like, first down. When he does. It's like he's just really ripped. Like you can, even if you didn't have high def, you'd see veins bulging out of his forearms. I mean, he's just like that guy.
That's either Land Clark or Alan Eck, I think.
I think Land Clark is who I want there because I don't remember names of guys that well, but if the guy I'm describing and like Tirico says, here's Land Clark with the call, whatever, I'd be
Land
like,
Clark.
Look at this Land Clark. You're already in trouble with me with land. I mean, just get out of here. And now you're all jacked up. I don't know. Yeah, that guy.
I'd rather have a doughy ref. I've said it many times. I prefer a doughy ref.
It's more relatable.
Land Clark, who is a chief building official, by the way, in real life, is the alternate referee for Bills Jaguars. He'll be there if the actual referee is unfit to perform his duties.
If something happens to the game-appointed ref.
The actual ref for this game happens to be someone who has officiated 3 Bills wildcard games in the last 5 years. And he's getting a 4th.
All right.
2020 versus the Colts. 2021 versus the Patriots. 2022 versus the Dolphins. All wins. Total number of penalties called against the Bills in those 3 games.
Total in the 3 games. 18.
7.
7.
Accepted penalties.
That's a very low number.
Brad Allen.
Right.
You picture Brad Allen? Normal-looking guy. Not going to win any bodybuilding contests. I trust him. I like him. He's not. I wouldn't say he's my number one, but I've got no issue. Hockey League would be my least favorite.
I can't see Brad Allen because when you said Brad Allen, my brain went to Doug Allen, and now all I can see is Doug Allen.
Oh, wow.
The former Anthem
Of
singer.
all Allens?
So, yeah, right. I know, but
Okay. Brad Allen just, looks like he could be your next door
All right.
neighbor.
Yeah.
Could be your mailman.
yeah, good.
3
7 penalties.
wild
in 2
card
games.
Bills games in a row. It's interesting that he got 3 in a row, by the way, because
Yep.
maybe they would want to mix that up, but they
Yeah.
didn't. And he called an accepted total of 7 penalties against the Bills in those 3 games. More.
Is Jacksonville radio talking about that?
They only have. They're running out of time if they're not.
Is somebody in Jacksonville pointing out that the official, his crew is only, although it's not his crew entirely, it's different. They're all-star crews, right?
In fact, I can speak to this.
Okay.
According to sharpfootballanalysis.com, 3 officials from Brad Allen's regular season crew will join him.
Okay.
And then 1 official from 3 other crews have been
Gotcha.
promoted, I think it would be, to
Yep.
this crew for Sunday's game. More.
There's more?
Allen officiated contests averaged the fewest penalties per game in the league this year.
I think I like this.
Yeah, you should like this.
I think I like this.
The Bills...
Because I don't feel like the Bills... I think the Bills are more likely to be tugging and grabbing at Jacksonville receivers than they are me. And I don't know, pass rush-wise, it might be a push.
The Bills' defense is top 5 this year in defensive holding penalties, as is Jacksonville's.
Okay. That sounds like a push.
The Bills co-ranked, as it says here on Warren's website, sharpfootballanalysis.com, the Bills co-ranked number 1 this season in offensive holding penalties. Tied for the most. Remember Mike Vrabel's comment. How come they didn't get more holding penalties? They get a lot of them usually, but not against us. He said something to that effect
Okay.
after the Bills win in Foxborough. They ranked tied for first this year in offensive holding penalties. Guess what? Guess whose crew ranked last this year in calling offensive holding penalties? Brad Allen.
Let me think.
We've really hit the jackpot here.
Yeah, this sounds like a win.
Allen's crew also awarded the fewest automatic first downs via penalty in the 2025 regular season.
Well, he likes to let the players decide.
He is going to let the players play.
He wants to. He doesn't want to get. He doesn't want to be the game. He doesn't want to be the show.
That's what everybody wants.
Doesn't want to get in
from
the
a ref.
way. Yeah.
Don't call the obvious things we're all seeing.
This sounds great to me.
Make sure to ignore the constant barrage of penalties we can all see right there on our screens. Just don't even worry about it. Home teams are 61% in his games over the last 10 years, 2016, so 10 seasons. Home teams win 61% of the time. I'm not sure how high that is. I mean, don't home teams usually win about that often?
Probably
Maybe more?
Probably, yeah.
So he might be right. I don't know the number. He might be right near the middle on that average. Home teams on the money line in his games as a ref, there are 6, are 5-1. So he has skewed a little bit. I'm not sure that's the fair way to put it. But home teams have won 5 of 6 games, and that's 3 Bills games, as I just ran down, that he's officiated as a head referee in the playoffs. The Bills have a very good record with Allen, 3 playoff wins in the wild card round, as I mentioned, and all of these were at home. Mentioned that too.
Okay.
Excited?
I already was, but
Yeah.
but
You already were for this game?
This didn't take anything away. It if it did anything, it added.
Thank you.
I'm not sure that it, but it's good.
It might not have had any impact on you.
It's a positive. No, it did.
A slight bump.
I'm just being jerky.
A slight bump.
A slight bump. Yeah.
How about it?
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, whatever. But if I had come at you with all the opposite information here, we would have been freaking out a little bit. Like, that would have been the most holding. If it's Hockey League and all his, showmanship, all the holding penalties, holding offense, just, I'm not here to see you. I'm not here to watch you.
Nobody is.
I'm here to watch Brad Allen.
Maybe your dad is. I don't know.
I'm here to watch Brad Allen. I think we drew a good card here.
I like it.
Any questions about the other assignments this weekend? I'm happy to take them off the air. I've got the whole list.
Okay.
The umpire for this game is a dentist.
We're not going to do this for the other 5 games.
You want to? It's fun. The umpire for this game is a dentist who played in the NFL.
Oh, really?
Mike Morton. Mm-hmm. Brad Allen is a nonprofit CEO.
Is that's a nice
in real
gig.
life?
That's a nice gig.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Nonprofit CEO?
Yeah.
That's probably the best.
It sounds really good.
It sounds really good.
You're probably doing what appears to be good work. Right. Well, your name is on good work. It's charitable, nonprofit. Like that feels good. And the pay's probably all right.
You go to a meeting once a month.
Yeah. A lot of Zoom.
You're usually on Zoom.
A lot of Zoom, probably, in that world, I would guess.
Watch out. The umpire, that can be holding calls. That's from a different crew. The dentist guy here is from a different crew.
Yeah.
So
don't
take this to the bank.
Do you happen to know, is former Bills safety Steve Freeman still out there?
I don't know.
Officiating? I mean, it's been a long time. I mean, he
you think he's probably
he might have aged out
past his prime?
He might have.
As a ref?
But he was an official. I think he was an umpire for a long time. Or back judge. Back judge. Something.
I don't see his name this week.
Yeah, okay. Just curious.
Yeah, no, it's a fair question. It's the right question. Is Steve Freeman still working? Here's Kyler with us. Hello.
Hello. So obviously we know after this year we're going to lose Dawson Knox unless we re-sign him, and we have.
Whoa!
We do.
Whoa! Can we? I'm going to call a timeout. He's under contract. I mean, they might want to adjust it or divest themselves of him, but I don't think we know anything. His contract's not up,
Knox?
huh?
In 2026, I believe.
I'm not sure, but okay. So let's say he's gone. That's what you want to work with?
I am sure he is.
Not to say he's gone, but really with Kincaid, we know he's got a lot of health problems. Is it worth it to keep Knox for $15 million, $12 million a year when you know you have Jackson Hawes here as a blocking guy?
I mean, he's never been worth it, I think, but
there's always going to be a question if you're tight on the cap and he's making that kind of dough. He's not a free agent until 2027. So, and I was sure, and I just checked, just to make double sure. So but they may have to make a decision on that. I think Kincaid's health probably plays a bigger part in that than Jackson Hawes plays in it, because their number one receiving tight end is Kincaid, and we're like just limping into every game here, hoping he can get through it and really managing his reps. So I don't know. I think it might be more likely with as much as they've used him in their passing game in the last few weeks that they restructure him.
I shouldn't have said Knox has never been worth it. That sounds really harsh. He's okay, but the contract was egregious, and it's still there. And, now you can wonder, the caller, I think, had it wrong, but you can wonder whether they should have him back.
Sure.
It's $21 million dead cap. They just paid what? I mean, they paid him a huge contract when they did it, like 3 years ago. So they're still working under that. And I don't think it's great. But Knox has been useful at times. I'm not like a hater or anything. I just never wanted that deal and have never thought it was good for the Bills.
I think it's fair to say that I would say this, if he's here, his cap number is projected according to Spot Track to be $17 million next year. If he is here, and that's not.
Oh, my dead cap number was for this year. Sorry.
That's pretty typical with the last year of a contract like that, which is what this is. And I think they've even reworked him at some point. Anyway, I think that's what they'll do again. If he's here, they will rework that. I don't think they will plow into the final year of his deal at $17 billion. That just seems to me like that would be nuts.
Yeah, the dead cap number next year is 7.4. That's a different deal altogether than 21, which is what it was this year.
Right.
So maybe he does end up leaving. It's not impossible.
Right.
All right. Kincaid, so limited again. How important is he?
I think he's vital. I really think he's vital. I don't want to go so far as to say they can't win a game without him catching 6 balls for 75 yards and a score or something. But the splits with and without him in games and even on the field it's so one-sided that he really is the engine of their passing game. When he's there, I don't want to stop short of saying flourish, but they're good. They don't really have the problems that they seem to have when he's not. And again, this is within games themselves. When he's dressed and not on the field, they run into trouble. So I think he really matters a lot, and it's so precarious every week. It's just, can I get there with this guy? Is how I feel anyway. The game's going to start, and anytime I see him, I'm watching to see if he's getting up slow.
Really?
Yeah. Every time. That's where I'm at with him at this point. And I don't feel like, I don't know, maybe that sounds harsh. I don't think that's unwarranted.
No, it's just, it really is in your head.
Yeah.
Is all. I don't think it's unwarranted either, but it's really in your head that, he might not get up from any given play. Well, I've been a little resistant on his skeleton key type status here for their offense because while there have been good games, there have been games where he mattered a lot. It's not like it's all the time. He was not somebody, when you think about a tight end that might serve this purpose, he wouldn't be on a list of guys for me like this. But I'm sure they want him. And I think what else about Kincaid is, as we perhaps brace ourselves for an aftermath next week, like what they lost to Jacksonville. Now what? What has to change? I mean, you will not be able to get through next week unless you call now. You better call now to talk about this next week.
Reserve your spot.
Yeah, we'll just sort of wait for whatever is going to happen. But Bean could use Kincaid, this whole stuff about receivers, he's adjacent. I mean, he's a first-round pick. He's the only one that isn't, defense, right? He's somebody, he stands out. And Coleman is almost the same. But Coleman might not even play in this game. They might be done with him. They're not done with Kincaid. And then eventually we'll get into a conversation about a fifth-year option for him and, what kind of future do they see in Kincaid? What's it worth to them? Bean could use, if not also Allen, Bean could use Kincaid to pop because this is one where he could sort of push back against, not literally because he's not on hold himself, but right. He has been.
No, and but it would be good for his brand.
Good for him.
Yes.
To get Kincaid on the field and making a difference, a real difference.
Yeah, in the playoffs.
They didn't draft him to block with 2 other tight ends on the field.
No.
I mean, the point of Kincaid is seam stretcher. And that's not really, when he's not there is not this player on the Bills.
No.
So maybe he is huge to their chances.
I think he is, and I think the number on a fifth-year option is pretty moderate. I think I saw $8 million, somewhere in that range, and I would bet almost regardless of how this ends this year that they pick that up. And just try, because he is a first-round pick, and they do not have a bunch of pass catchers. They don't need to create another need at that position. We're already talking about Knox, right? They're going to probably have to redo that if he's even here. Maybe they would feel like, if Kincaid really smashed in the playoffs, then they want to trust his health. It's just always going to be risky. I mean, he went through a whole offseason, and then camp started, and it's like, oh, knee's sore. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to do with that. I mean, other than just be leery of it, which is why it's in my head. But the fifth-year option to me is not such a big nut that they would stumble over it. I would almost guarantee they pick it up.
Sounds right. You could even eventually get to a franchise tag with tight ends that doesn't kill you. Maybe that's not what's next, but
right. But you might want to go year to year with him.
Yes. Dane is next. Hello, Dane.
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call.
You're welcome.
There's been a lot of talk this week on this show and others about how important it is for the Bills to establish some sort of consistent run game in this game to really get their offense going. I think that's completely true. It's been the case all year. That being said, I'm wondering and also hoping that Joe Brady will call some designed Allen runs this week. I think that's something we really have not seen a lot of this year outside of the tush push, and that's obviously dependent, maybe on the state of Allen's foot. But I was just wondering, what your guys' thoughts on that is going forward for this game, and how that will impact the game.
I think I would be surprised if it's not full speed ahead on everything with him, including running. Like I really think we're there. He's practicing fully. I would expect them to do everything they feel like they need to do, and that should include Allen running. So I don't think there'll be any handcuffs on that myself.
I don't disagree overall, but it's not that many plays. It's only like a less than 5, I think. Probably. What is it going to be? A draw, a sweep, maybe inside the red zone, a couple of plays like that. But I doubt they're thinking that this is what they have to win, is for Allen just to sort of take the snap and go. Because they have Cook for that. And Allen has taken a pounding this year. I don't expect them to, take the field at 1 o'clock on Sunday and just sort of like rev him up in this way. Sure, you don't want to hold back. That's right. But, just a couple of plays. Maybe 5?
That's all it really ever is.
That's right.
Right? So that's why I say it's whatever it normally is, I think you can expect that. And there should be no restrictions on him running, creating outside of structure and all that. Because again, I feel like I'm going to trust that he's as fully healthy as he's been in a few weeks. Had the extra time off, didn't have to really do much last week at all. I assume in practice, just I'm not playing the game. So, I think the playbook's wide open.
Maybe he should have limped off the field after that one play against the Jets, just to
helped.
Have us all guessing.
Yeah.
Just not even use his one foot. Just jog off the field with a grimace on one leg.
He shows up at a news conference this week on a scooter.
Get the scooter going, yes. Milk it. And then, he's fine? Great.
I think
what a relief.
I think you get in trouble for doing that.
Well, you have to be a little bit subtle. The scooter might be the difference.
Bit much,
I don't. The scooter could get you in trouble. Crutches.
Was it last year or was it 2 years ago that I think it was 2 years ago? Everyone was analyzing Mahomes walking to and from the podium for post game, like for postseason, like midweek news conferences. There was, I remember seeing footage of his feet.
Feet footage. The Bills have all those walking boots. We know they should just use.
Right, they got a whole room.
Why
full
waste
of them.
it? They've got dozens of walking boots.
Just as a precaution.
Right.
Put them in a walking boot.
Why shouldn't they all be in walking boots?
I don't need you stubbing your toe on a door frame.
I tweaked my ankle coming in here today.
It's not hard.
And I wasn't even running away from anybody, as far as you know. I was just walking in and a little bit of a step.
Yep. You got to watch yourself.
Use the walking boots.
Yep.
I doubt that that's illegal. Why not be safe out there, Bills? The update, and we'll talk some more following 803-0550. The Line is coming up in 20 minutes. Also, Sal Capaccio, and then the Sabres tonight at the Rangers, pregame at 6. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here, WGR.
In sin so long, all the feels are gone. Fella stopped me on the street last night, said everything's alright. Roller coaster, make it through the day, I'm right. It seems your meal ticket is gone, but life goes on. I could forget how to place your bet. When everyday life gets you down, you gotta steal the crown. Got to own it. Don't bitch and moan about it, please. God forbid you scrape your knees, and it's nothing to sneeze at. Oh, I've told you over and over again. You gotta get both hands around it and make your own plans. Roller coaster, it's taking over. It's about time. Oh, oh, sing your high line on the roller coaster of life. You've got to all choose your timeline with the roller coaster of life. Roller coaster. I want to go down the rabbit hole, down the rabbit hole of life. And now it's about to leave. Oh, roller coaster.
Not too many changes from yesterday's official injury report for the Bills. Matt Milano and Matt Prater now are full participants after not practicing yesterday. And then TJ Sanders, he was added to the injury report with a shoulder injury, but was a full participant today. While for the Jaguars, it's a second straight missed practice for left tackle Cole Van Lanen with a knee and cornerback Jerrion Jones with an illness. And the Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8 million. We'll get more on the Bills. Sal Capaccio joins the show in just about a half hour at 5 p.m. Around the rest of the league, more major changes coming in the AFC. This one with Miami Dolphins. They have fired head coach Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons in charge. McDaniel was 0-2 in the playoffs, and then the Dolphins, they haven't even made the postseason in either of the last 2 seasons. The Dolphins are also in the market for a general manager. For the Sabres, they're down in New York City tonight. They do take on the Rangers. Puck drop at 7, a 6 p.m. pregame. Colton Ellis is expected to get the start in net for the Sabres, while with Igor Shesterkin on IR for the Rangers, the anticipation is they'll be going with Jonathan Quick in net. And then in college football, the semifinals do start tonight with the Fiesta Bowl first up. Miami takes on Ole Miss, kickoff at 7:30 for a spot in the national championship. Miami last played for a national title back in 2002, while Ole Miss has never played for a national title, at least in the modern era, with a national championship game. That's Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
The Bills have two significant concerns. Number one, they struggle to stop the run. The Jags can run the football, and they run it well. And the Bills have struggled in that area for a good part of the season. And number two, the reality is the Bills do not have any way to win one-on-one matchups in their pass game. So everything must be highly schemed, or else it's, let's hope Josh makes plays.
Sounds right. Greg Cosell on with Ross Tucker recently. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal at 5, 803-0550. The line coming up. Don't want to miss that. The game coming up on Sunday. Definitely do not want to miss that.
I'm not going to miss 1 o'clock, right?
1 o'clock Eastern. You're on post game with me. You want to be available for that?
I will be. I'll be on time.
You'll be home, I think.
Right, but I'll be on time.
Okay, good. Bob is with us. Hello, Bob.
Hey, guys. Isn't this the same Bills team that beat Jacksonville 47-10 last year?
Kinda. Yeah. I mean, similar enough. I mean, there's a couple of different pieces, but yeah.
I mean, maybe they added Jacoby Myers at the trade deadline, and McDermott certainly did a lot to talk him up this week, but their first-round pick, Hunter's been out for quite some time, but it seems like a lot of the improvement that we're seeing out of Jacksonville was coming from coaching, and specifically offensive coaching. So to me, win or loss this weekend, if McDermott doesn't win the Super Bowl this year, it seems to me that if you look across the league, and it's been this way for the last 2 or 3 years, that the ceiling of a team rises when the offense is better coached. Like, we need to go get an offensive coach. And what it's really boiling down to me is there's only a certain number of these great offensive coaches that are out there. Like, if Green Bay moves on from LaFleur, that seems to be something that almost seems like a no-brainer coming out of the McVay tree. But it makes me wonder whether these coaches are possibly worth picks, and quite a few of those picks. Because if your ceiling can rise like Chicago did this year, or Jacksonville can rise this year, or even what Sean Payton's done in Denver, having an offensive play-calling coach matters. And I have to say, he is the only thing that scares me about this weekend going into Jacksonville. Not McDermott, it's Liam Cohen. And I just wish I could say the same thing about the Bills. I'll hang up and listen.
Okay.
I think we've almost all. I shouldn't say it that way. I too would prefer to have an offensive head coach. You know, that way you're not cycling through guys, and the hot candidate on a good team leaves, and you got to replace them, and you're scrambling. That's the life you lead when you choose to have a defensive head coach. So yeah, I mean, I think Cohen has made a huge difference for Jacksonville. I don't know how much their personnel changed over, but he would have been at the helm for the changes too. So, with a general manager, of course. I think he deserves a lot. He's done a great job. That was a 4-win team that got stomped by the Bills here last year. And I think he's freed up that quarterback. And, yeah, I mean, being scared, you're intimidated by the team's offense because of the coach. I mean, I guess by virtue of that, you're scared, the caller's word, of the coach. I mean, he's not going to be on the field, but he's had a great first season there.
It's part of it. Last year's Jaguars had 9 takeaways. This year, 31. We had this with the Bills last year, where they ran both sides of the ball super hot when it came to turnovers. We expected that to regress. It did. They still won 12 games. And the hardest part about all of this is always the single game sample, or the single play sample, even when it comes to these big decisions. Like, did the Jaguars have a better season than the Bills? Is it pretty much equal? Like, they won one more game. than the Bills, so they had a better record by 1 game. But 12-5 is damn good. And what works against McDermott is we're all getting bored and frustrated with playoff losses, and people are seemingly ready to talk about another one having happened already before it has, is just like that works against him. It works for him in a certain way because the consistency really is amazing. I mean, the Bills have been the best team in the NFL in the regular season, at least. I know that's the point, right? But for 5 years running. Then you get to 1 game and, how come we didn't read this blitz, or how come we didn't do this? And then down you go. And then it's, we must need somebody else. There does come a time when that happens. And the question is simply whether this will be it, just like it has been after every one of these losses. And for me, it hasn't been time yet, and I don't know that I'll want it to happen next week if they were to lose this game. But to have the season end in a first-round loss to Jacksonville, if that's what happens, is not progress. We know that much.
There's no question about that. All that said, it would still stun me, and that might not even be strong enough, if they made a move on him, the Bills. Like, for all the chatter that's out there this week, it just sort of flows with the whole vibe. It now or never for Allen. I mean, McDermott even belongs in the driver's seat of that, but a lot of it's about the quarterback because the conversation around the league is always about the quarterbacks. That's just the nature of the beast. But I feel like we talked about this with Joe an hour ago, Joe Ostrowski from Chicken Dinner, that I think circumstantially there's speculation about McDermott. He's been here a long time, and there have been playoff failures, and you've got the MVP from last year as your quarterback, and you haven't gotten there yet. And I think you just sort of add all that up, and just maybe now will be the time. I just don't hear or get any sense at all around here that is real. But that doesn't mean it couldn't happen. I mean, there's probably a scenario out there where it could. I don't expect it, and I think mostly any speculation about him is largely just the circumstances that I've already presented.
Sean is next. Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Good.
Just want to get your thoughts on Brady's job security for next season, especially if the offense struggles in the postseason. The reason why I asked is because McDaniel's being fired today. I mean, Brady's made this offense look very difficult on Josh far too much. I mean, if I never saw a wide receiver screen again, I'd be okay with that. But any type of new wrinkle into this offense, now we don't have the skill players that Miami did have or still has, but just curious on your thoughts if that would be a potential fit for the Bills offense next season if Brady was to be let go or go somewhere else.
Possible. I don't think you need to have a fit. You fit, around your guy. I mean, I say that not in every instance would I say that, but if the Bills are so bereft, like we all talk that they are in terms of receiving talent, then you start over with a coordinator and try to shape it from there. This is all we can talk about, I guess, is just what if they lose, right? Here we are again, 4th day in a row, which is what if they lose. It's not that it isn't interesting, but the only thing we end up talking about is coaching changes anymore. That's just it. Everybody's so ready for them to lose, I guess. Favored on the road. The line that is coming up, that's one that'll amplify the point.
It is. Yeah.
Just everybody's so ready for them to lose so we can, have the phones ring off the hook about 10 or 100 other coaching candidates.
Well, I don't know. There's not a lot of mystery to that, to me, right? I mean, if you have been clamoring, if you've been calling us, once a year, twice a year to make your case about McDermott being a problem for them, at some point you want to be right. So anytime, right? I mean, as much as you're a Bills fan, right, you want to be right. And so I'm planting my flag. I told you back after 13 seconds. Congratulations, you did. I'm sure you did. Thousands of you probably did, or hundreds. I don't know. It is. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. It does feel to me like there is some portion of the fan base that wants the validation of being correct about that. So they can dunk on me and you, whoever. Just, I told you.
Everyone else.
Like, okay, congrats. You nailed it. They weren't the 1 out of 32 teams to win the Super Bowl this year, and you got it. I don't know. I just keep saying what I say. I don't think it's in the wind at all here. I think the national stuff is just connecting dots, which again you can do, and you don't have to be. It doesn't have to be wrong. It could happen. I don't expect it. Like, I do not think Terry Pegula is sitting there today thinking, man, if we don't win this game.
Who knows, though?
But you're right. You never do really know.
I just want to see it and make a judgment off of it. If they do lose the game, like how? What is it this time, And the fact that it's not Kansas City won't help if they lose, but it's still an if. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. Sal at 5. This is WGR. Looking at some prop bets for Bills-Jaguars, it's time for The Line, presented by FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Well, he's big game Gabe. We've seen him give you record stuff in the playoffs before, and he is now facing a former team, which he's done before. He was on Jacksonville last year for that game against the Bills, but this is way different. This is bigger. Sadly, at FanDuel, sorry to start with such a negative, but they don't have a Davis to score 3 touchdowns prop.
He's not on that list.
He does have 2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, right? That's plus 6,500.
Yeah. Got $10?
Yeah, I might do that
for $650
with a bunch of other crap.
Yeah, crap is right. That's how you like to do it. But who am I to talk? Who am I to chirp? So Davis to score twice. Allen total yards 271.5. Passing is 228.5. Doesn't add up to 271.5. Rushing, I think, is 38.5, maybe right in there. And on the FanDuel radio broadcast with Andrew that'll air on Sunday, Andrew Filipponi, I said today, I'm not inclined to bet against Allen in the playoffs. We know how much weight is on his shoulders, but how capable he is, and I just don't want to lose money at betting against him.
Yeah. What did you say the rushing number is?
38.5.
I would go over that myself. I think whether it's design stuff, because design stuff usually isn't necessarily big runs often, right? I mean, the bigger runs are often scrambles, right? The 40-yard touchdown against the Bengals was a pass play, and Dawkins picked up the inside guy, the outside guy. Allen just made a miss, and then there was just nothing but turf there, and he went. That's where I think you'll get big plays. The called plays are off. The tush push is 2 yards, whatever. The draws can be 8, 9, whatever. I just feel like passing plays where you catch them all running downfield and he takes off are where it's at for him. So I think with it being a playoff game, assuming the Bills function on offense and like it's a game that's a competitive game.
Yeah, it needs to be close.
Yeah,
I think
right. I think because either way, I think if it gets crooked one way or the other, I don't know. Maybe if they're down like they were against New England, you'd see him run a lot trying to mount a comeback. Like that could happen, I suppose. But if they got out ahead, then maybe you would see it curtailed. But I like over 38.
Any other game you love? I think the most interesting other line is the Niners-Eagles game at 4.5. Philadelphia is getting a lot of credit here. I know they're getting healthier and they're the defending champs. They're at home. They're getting a lot of credit here, 4.5 against the Niners. Are they the better team? Niners have injuries. Trent Williams, maybe. Yeah. They always do.
I mean, man, that last game is hard to shake. How tough a time Seattle gave the 49ers. The Eagles, I mean, I don't know what they didn't really put forth their best effort in Week 18. Week 17, they did a number on the Bills defensively. They did a great job. I mean, Allen ended up with some passing yards, but offense overall. So I feel like the Eagles have it in them to put the clamps on San Francisco a little bit. It's really more about what do the Eagles do on offense. Like, can they function? I think if they could get to 24 points, I think they can win that game.
That's the number. It's 4.5 and 44.5. So
right.
24.5 to 20 would be the total. I want to give the Niners a little bit more credit than this line is giving them. Even if it is on the road, even if they don't have Williams or whoever else in this game. McCaffrey, Kittle, Purdy was so hot. I know what happened against Seattle. He was not hot in that game, but leading up to it, back-to-back 5 total touchdowns, I got to say, performances. I don't know. Philadelphia can give you bad vibes, and I don't know how I'm going to land on that one.
Yep.
I think I'm on San Francisco because of all of this put together.
I'm working on a think piece on the Steelers. I just something about it's not so much the Monday night thing I mean, is a real thing. They haven't lost since, what did you say? Is it Sims beat them in
Hosteller.
Hosteller.
91 at home on a Monday night. 91.
On a Monday night. I'm not sure Houston's offense is ready to go on the road and win a playoff game.
Yeah.
Their defense is ready to do almost anything it wants, but it's different home versus road, and I could see the Steelers squeezing out a 17-14 game.
Totally.
So I'm kind of into that a little bit. As much as I can't stand Rodgers, and they it's becoming the Steelers Invitational here. Wild Card Weekend, go get run over and then run it back again and win your 9 or 10 games and show up again in the playoffs year over year over year with Tomlin as the coach. But I think Houston's in a little tough there.
Interesting. The line presented by FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Sal Capaccio joins us next. The Sabres are in New York to face the Rangers. Pregame at 6 here on WGR.
Not too many changes from the official injury report from yesterday. Matt Milano and Matt Prater were moved to full participants after not practicing yesterday, and then TJ Sanders was added with a shoulder, but ultimately was a full participant. While for the Bills' opponent this Sunday, the Jaguars, it is a second straight missed day for left tackle Cole Van Lanen with a knee injury and cornerback Jerrion Jones with an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-MILLION. We'll get more on the Bills coming up next when Sal Capaccio does join the show. The big news, though, today in the NFL comes courtesy of the AFC. The Miami Dolphins firing head coach Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons in charge. McDaniel did go 0-2 in the playoffs with the Dolphins, and then to make matters worse, hasn't even made the playoffs in either of the last 2 seasons. Dolphins are also in the market for a general manager. And then Tampa Bay making a number of coaching changes today, most notably offensive coordinator Josh Grizzard is out after just 1 year. And for the Bucs now, they're going to be on to their 5th different offensive coordinator in as many years. To the Sabres, they're down in New York City tonight. They do take on the Rangers. Puck drop at 7, pregame in just about an hour at 6. Cole Nels is expected to get the start in net for the Sabres, while for the Rangers, with Igor Shesterkin on IR, the anticipation is it is going to be Jonathan Quick in net. We do have 10 other games in the league tonight. Some of the notables include, also at 7, Montreal hosting Florida and the Flyers. They have the Maple Leafs in town. 9 p.m., the Sens are in Colorado versus the Avalanche. And then 2 games at 10, Vegas hosting the Blue Jackets and the Wild. They're in Seattle versus the Kraken. And in college football, the semifinals, they start tonight. The Fiesta Bowl is up first. Miami takes on Ole Miss at 7:30 for a spot in the national championship. Miami last played for a national title in 2002, while Ole Miss, they have never played for a national title, at least in the modern era, when there is a national championship game. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
We'll dig in on the Bills here. Bulldog and I just talking some hockey during the break. The all-time NHL goal-scoring record was broken last night. It's like no one even cares. Alex Ovechkin, 915.
Oh, he broke his own record.
Yes.
Yeah.
No one even seems to... He also blocked a shot in this game. No one even seems to... You'd think that'd be a big news story. Okay.
Does he have the block shot record now, too?
I don't know. But when he gets that, though, that'll be a bigger deal than breaking the literal all-time goal-scoring record, which he just did last night.
Maybe they'll stop the game and Zach Taylor will get mad all over again.
Yeah, that might be something. That might be deserving. Getting mad at that might be fair, if that were to happen. Sal Capaccio with us now on the West Her Hotline. 1 day closer to the wild card matchup, Bills and Jaguars on Sunday, and some injury developments today. I'm probably most curious, well, I'd say 2 guys from this list, Sal. Matt Prater, who today is listed as having practiced in full, so you'll tell us if that you think that means he's like fine now. And Ty Johnson, Bulldog pointed out yesterday how like don't ignore his name on the injury report because he matters a lot to the Bills. So Prater first.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, guys. I would say if you, like, the question is he fine? I don't know. Like, how could we judge that? He did practice in full today. That's for a kicker, whatever his normal amount of reps is. That means he took. I guess the question would be how he feels tomorrow, right? Really, more than anything. How do you feel after having your normal amount of reps, after kicking? So I think it's obviously very encouraging for Matt Prater to be, a full participant today, especially after yesterday when he said to us that he was confident that he could get a full weekend and, the rest of the weekend, I should say, and, get a full Thursday in. And that's where it's trending. So I like where that's trending. I still think you have to be very cognizant of it. And by the time you get to Saturday, think about, is he truly in the spot that you can trust him to not only start a game, but get through a game? I think that's the question they're going to have to ask themselves. And then on Ty Johnson, yeah, that's a really big name on this list. I mean, he's a guy that does a lot for the Bills. He's a very good pass-catching running back. We know that. He's very good in pass protection. They love him as a third down back. He hasn't practiced for 2 straight days, but I think, over the last 5 weeks or so, really since maybe December, if I remember back, there's been different guys who Sean McDermott would come on Friday and they hadn't practiced on Wednesday or Thursday, and he'd say, yeah, he's going to be limited today and we'll see how it goes. So I wouldn't rule him out, obviously, here on a Thursday, and I do think that, we'll wait till tomorrow to see what McDermott has to say about him.
Yeah, they might just trying to be extra careful, give him as much time as possible, don't rush it, and, hopefully he can serve some purpose. He did finish the game, did he not? Right?
He did. He scored a touchdown after he got hurt.
Right. So,
even when he got hurt, Bulldog, on the sidelines, the official report was probable to return.
Right.
He got bent back pretty good. When it happened, you could see it. He limped off the field. I knew it right away. Like, you got eyes on him. You're like, okay, he just came off. Let's see what happens here. Went in the tent. Then we get the report, ankle probable to return, which was good because they only had one other running back really available, in Ray Davis. Mm-hmm. And then he went back in and he scored a touchdown. So, but you know how these things go. Your adrenaline's pumping. You tape it up, and then after the game, you're like, okay, well, guess what? There's a little bit more here than we thought.
Gets stiff.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not a skate to take off, but still, right. You take the tape off and the thing might swell up on you.
I always want to couch the Prater stuff because we don't know exactly what it is that he's got. It's enough for him to have missed the second half and to be on the injury report and so on. And he missed games before that. But, man, again, I'm just like, if he's fine, if he feels good tomorrow, then we just risk it. Or, still have the other guy, the new guy, Matthew Wright, as an emergency if he has a setback or something like that. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It scares me a little bit. I think I might already want to be done with this, coming off a recurrence of that injury, but the Bills are seemingly not.
No, that's right. We're not in the shoes of the medical staff and the trainers or Matt Prater, other than what he tells us. And he could be feeling much better than we all maybe think here just by looking at it from the outside. It could be really, when he used the word precautionary for Sunday, when he talked to us yesterday, that was really encouraging to me. Meaning, okay, well, that's good. It wasn't like he, really something happened where he's like, oh my God, I'm in danger of missing. It was more like, okay, the weather wasn't great, wasn't feeling that great. Let's not risk anything. So to be in this position, obviously is encouraging. So get to Saturday, 4 p.m. is the deadline. If they're going to have any elevations, Matthew Wright would be the guy if they want to do that. If they don't elevate Matthew Wright at 4 p.m. on Saturday, then they're rolling with Matt Prater, and then you're like, okay, please get through the game.
Right.
If they do, it doesn't mean he's going to play, but man, I would find it hard. Well, I shouldn't say that. You could do it one of two ways. He gets elevated, and it's really just precaution until you get to 11:30 a.m. on Sunday and see how Matt plays, Matt Prater feels, or you literally have a plan to say we're going to have him on the active roster just in case.
Yeah, I'm pretty. I think yesterday I would have said to you, maybe dress them both, just to be sure. Now I'm more at maybe call them up. You burn one of those practice squad call-ups and then leave him inactive if Prater feels good Sunday. I would bet, Sal, like you know the timeline better than me. Like flying Saturday, they get there. Like the plane might be a key part of this. Like how is he off the plane? Like so they get off the plane and go to the hotel. I would think trainers got to check in right away. How is Matt Prater? Right. I don't know how that lines up with 4 p.m. And when they have to make that decision on Wright, whether or not to elevate him from the practice squad or not. But I would assume a big check-in right after they get off the plane is in order.
It's a good point you make about the timing because generally we do land in the city we go to probably about 3:30 or so. So I think their decision will be made before then, right? You know what I mean?
Yep,
and just make sure. But you're right. And then you'll see where it goes. So I think they'll probably have a plan and make the decision before then. But you're right on the timing there. Absolutely, you just get them right there and let's go to treatment, make sure you're all good and everything like that. So the other part about this is, of course, guys, as you know, you only get 2 elevations. And if you use one on Matthew Wright, then you can't use one on somebody else. And right now, Terrell Bernard has not played 2 days in a row, practiced, and Shaq Thompson's dealing with a neck injury. I would expect Shaq to play. He played the week after the neck injury, but you might want to have another guy like Keontae Jenkins or Balen Spector because now suddenly Joe Andreessen becomes your backup middle linebacker. And if something were to happen to Shaq, then you got to use Joe there. So now what happens with your special teams? Plus you have 2 days in a row now of Joshua Palmer not practicing. That's starting to trend like he's not going to play. So what do you do there? Do you trust Keon Coleman enough to have him active? Or do you feel that you need Mecole Hardman because you don't want to lose Khalil Shakir to some random thing that happens on a punt return? You know what I mean? Like, I think there's just so many decisions you have to think about here.
And Ty Johnson, who we already talked about. 2
Correct.
days without.
Yep. And Ty Johnson.
You'd
that's
want
right.
another
Yep.
running back, I would think.
Yep. Oh, yeah. That's right, guys. If Ty Johnson can't go, I would go there. One of the first positions I would look at. If Ty Johnson can't go, I don't think you can go into a game with 2 running backs. I think you'd have to elevate Frank Gore in that situation.
How do you like Allen's chances of running a lot here in this game, Sal? It's such a weapon, a feature that teams don't often have to face week to week. It's all on the line here. We're looking at some of the props earlier, 38.5 yards. I mean, I guess some of it depends on his foot, but I mean, it's all out here, right?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I actually went and did the math earlier this week about other teams' quarterbacks running against the Jags, and there have been some pretty decent games. Now, Mahomes ran for 60. There were a couple others in there, like Cam Ward, I think, had like a 20-yard day. Not huge numbers. There was a 40-yard day in there maybe from somebody. I can't remember who it was, so I went back and looked. And it felt like a lot. I actually added it up, and it added up to something like high 200s, like total yards given up. So then I went and looked and literally put in like most rushing yards given up by a quarterback, against opponents this year. And the Jags aren't even that high, to be quite honest with you. But they have given up some – like the Bills are higher than the Jags. If you guys remember, early in the year, that really hurt the Bills. Earlier in the year, the Bills gave up a lot of third down scrambles, whether it was, New Orleans or even Tua escaped a couple times. Remember that? You remember the big one by Lamar? They've been better at that later in the year. But it feels like part of the reason why it feels like the Jags give it up because they don't give up to running backs. They don't give up a lot of yards to running backs, and sometimes – by necessity, the quarterback becomes more of the runner that has to do a little bit more to keep the offense moving a little bit. So I do think, Mike, to answer your question, that could very well be something the Bills lean into this week because if the Jags are going to try to shut down James Cook and really concentrate on that, then I think the Bills have to have a way to run the football outside of him to keep them honest, and that would have to obviously include Josh Allen.
We didn't talk about Dane Jackson, did we? Getting added to the 53? What do you think? What are they getting from this? He's been around a long time, in and out of on and off the team.
It's a really interesting move because I think this can be tied back to everything we talked about earlier, which is Matthew Prater, the other injuries going on. One of the options here for the Bills would be not just to elevate guys like a Matthew Wright or a Mecole Hardman. If they really needed to, they could sign a guy to the 53-man roster, and then you have to make a roster move. Now, by doing that, a guy goes on waivers. So if you walk through the roster, go, well, they do have 4 tight ends, right? Do you need Kaliki Latu on the roster? You could argue, yes, you do, because what happens if something happens to Dalton Kincaid? You at least you win this week and you need somebody, right? What happens if Latu gets claimed, right?
You
now
can't
you don't
treat
have
it like a 1 week season here. You're thinking about a month here of football, right?
That's exactly right, Bulldog. And let's remember, anybody released gets claimed off waivers. So that being said, I think the smart move was signing Dane Jackson to the 53 because I think they already know that Max Harrison isn't playing. All right, Max isn't playing. We know we're going to need another corner. They only have 2 boundary corners. That's Christian Benford. That's Tre'Davious White. They have Dane Jackson sitting there in the practice squad. Well, let's not burn one. We know we're going to play him. So let's sign him to the 53, and then we still have 2 elevations left. Dane Jackson is, to me, a good floor for a backup corner to have for you. You could do a lot worse than guys like that in the league. I understand. The minute a guy like that gets like, oh, the Bills are signing him, fans kind of go a little crazy about, oh, my God, he better not play. He's terrible. Every team has players like Dane Jackson on their team. And that is to say players who have been around, who are veterans, who know the system, that you put on the field if you need them, who you are confident can at least do a base level job. And I think that's what Dane Jackson is for them.
With Sal Capaccio, did you hear us talking about the referee for this game earlier, maybe?
I did not. Who is it?
Brad Allen.
Oh, okay.
So some interesting things, I think, about him. He had 3 Bills wildcard games in a row. Indy, New England, and Miami. And in those 3 games, the Bills were called for an accepted total of 7 penalties. Total. 2, 3, and 2 in those 3 games. He also has stats that show him to be like the fewest penalties in the league. That's the case in 2025 on average. last in calling offensive holding. The Bills tied for first in offensive holding penalties this year. Everything's coming up, not everything's coming up Bills because, home teams tend to win when he's the ref. But that's the case anyway, generally in the league. But if you're the type to, maybe be interested in this, I think some of the stats here with Allen look good. It might be the right choice for the Bills in the end.
Yeah, despite what Mike Vrabel had said a while back, I don't believe the Bills are any more number one unless you have something different. Let me look at it real quick. No, the Bills now are 28th in the NFL, 28th is worse. So I guess that'd be what, 32? They have the fourth most offensive holding penalties in the league.
I have Warren Sharp's site that says they're tied for first. So, but
no, they
right.
they have according to the NFL Game and Information System, they were the top offensive holding team in the league until they played the Patriots, and Mike Vrabel went on the radio and cried about it the next day because the Bills didn't get any offensive holding penalties, which he was wrong. They did, and it negated a touchdown. But I digress. Since
Close
then,
enough.
Yeah,
close enough.
But yeah, right. Anyway, that being said, they are 28th.
Anything anymore, Sal. Just say whatever you want. That's how it works.
It is interesting. I think that referee stats are interesting when you can follow trends. I also always want to make a point because as someone who's on the sidelines and has officials standing in front of me quite often, it's not the referee who throws the penalties really, other than a quarterback, a hold in the backfield or roughing the passer. It's all the other people on the field calling it. And in the playoffs, I believe they mix crews. I think they still have mixed crews. So who knows what to make of those stats? You know what I mean?
Yeah. The umpire is not from his crew, and he's a dentist. But I'm not sure the stats on how dentists tend to call penalties, whether they're very strict or very lenient or what they are.
Yeah. Sal, is there anything that stands out so far? We're into Thursday. We've got tomorrow to talk about this, and then you guys will be traveling on Saturday, and, of course, it's game day on Sunday. From Jacksonville's side of things, the left tackles missed a couple of days of practice. That could be a decent-sized deal, I would think.
100%, yeah. Yeah, there's one thing on them, going back to what you guys just said, just so you're aware. The Jags have been called overall for the third most penalties in the league this year. So they actually have been penalized the third most of any team in the NFL. It's Dallas, Tennessee, and Jacksonville as the top three teams in the league overall. So we'll see if that matters in this game to any extent. They are missing their left tackle, Cole Van Lanen. He just signed a contract extension actually about I think a day after he even got hurt in a game a couple of weeks ago. There's just been a lot of stuff out of Jacksonville, how people are expecting him to play. And he said he was going to play, and then now here we are on Thursday. He hasn't practiced yet. So he could still play, but it could also be gamesmanship that maybe they're putting it out there that he's going to play. I'm not really sure. Jerrion Jones, their backup nickel, has been sick, but he was returned in a limited fashion today. They don't have, the injury list the Bills do, that's for sure. They have a few other guys. Now, Patrick McCarry, he's one of Van Lanen's backups, actually. If he wasn't to play, he would play. He's been limited with a back injury. So I do think there's a few things there on the offensive line. And then they have Greg Newsome has been dealing with a shoulder injury. So, yeah, they have some injuries they're dealing with, but nothing like the Bills in that regard. I would say, too, I was on Jacksonville radio today, as you guys were talking earlier. I did hear you talking about other radio spots you were doing.
Yeah.
I was on Jacksonville radio today, and one of the hosts was Leon Searcy. Guys remember Leon Searcy?
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on with him, and it dawned on me. I said, I think, Leon, the last time the Bills won a road playoff game, you were on the team that they beat.
Miami.
And that is true. No. Steelers.
Well, that's the week before, but yes. They beat Miami.
Okay, the year.
Week.
I apologize, Mike. You're right. My apologies.
Same year, right.
That year. That was the last time the Bills, that year.
Right.
It was the day the week after the comeback game, right?
Right,
yes.
Pittsburgh. Right.
And he's like, wow. He's like, that's right. He said, boy, that's a long time ago. I'm like, I know. But the other thing is, because they were asking me about that, I mean, yes, the Bills they're 0 for, 8 on the road in what is it under McDermott? For 5? Or for, I can't remember the number.
6 maybe?
But
6 years in a row?
I'm like, guys, when you don't play in the playoffs for 17 straight years, you're going to go a long time without winning a playoff game on the road. That's what's going to happen.
Right.
They have 4 road playoff wins ever, I believe. 65, 81, 92, 92 seasons.
Yeah.
Good to hear Leon Searcy has landed on his feet. Mike McDaniel out in Miami. What do you make of it?
I find it really interesting and curious, the timing of it, and I can't help but think that it ties back to Harbaugh being available.
Yep.
And I know there's been a lot of people always speculating that. They have a GM that they're interviewing named Alexander, I believe is his last name.
That's tight with Harbaugh, yeah.
Yeah, and that would be a guy, but according to Jeff Darlington, who's pretty good down in Miami, that's his home base, so he's got the pulse on the Dolphins usually. And I know that I'm sure he's going to get this from the team a little bit and how they're going to want to put it out there. But he said, look, they're going to hire a GM and then they'll go from there. This isn't necessarily just about Harbaugh being available, but you have to kind of tie it. I would think that it might be now.
Yeah, me too.
Harbaugh,
I read a long paragraph and it just felt like more than is necessary to prove to me, right? Like you protest too much. Right, it feels very much like Miami wants to make sure they don't get portrayed as, well, a guy we like more came on the market, so we're moving on from McDaniel. But that's almost definitely what happened.
Yeah, it feels like that's the case. And I think on the other side, though, if you're Harbaugh, sure, maybe he wants to go and live in Miami and work in Miami, and he's tight with this guy. But, I mean, he's got a lot of options, right? He wants to coach, apparently. I think the Giants fit with him pretty well. I mean, that's the kind of organization, the stability that they've had for many years up until recently. He's the kind of coach I think can go in and stabilize things. Miami does need that too, right? Now, as far as McDaniel is concerned himself, I've always really respected Mike McDaniel as an offensive mind. I think he's a very, very smart offensive coordinator, offensive play caller. I've never had that same quite level of respect for him as a head coach. I'm not saying that, he's not, he can't do really good things. And he did take the team to the playoffs, but it is just a different deal to be a head coach and to be a coordinator. And when you do this, what I do, what you guys do, and you're around people long enough, you understand the different ways, and reasons why being a coordinator is much different than being a head coach. A head coach, especially these days, has to be much more of a CEO, whereas a coordinator is the guy that has to be kind of the brains behind the operation a lot of times to draw things up. And I just never felt that McDaniel was quite to the same level as a lot of these guys we talk about, but he's been an excellent coordinator. He's an excellent offensive mind. I also have a ton of respect for the guy because he has a personal struggle and story that we've talked about before that he's open about, and I just think that that's a guy that I root for in that realm.
Yeah, here on that. I agree across the board there. I think any team that I read already, Detroit is reaching out to him, and if they hire him, I think that's a home run with their talent on offense.
That's right. Now, I mean, I've seen Bills fans speculate would he fit in Buffalo with, if something were to happen with Joe Brady, whether he moves on to another team or the Bills move on from him. I don't know. I do think there's got to be, I think Mike McDaniel is a very good run coordinator. The Bills also run the ball really well already, right? That's his bread and butter, what he does. And I don't know. I haven't seen enough of him with anybody other than Tua that's made it work with a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah, you give anybody Josh Allen, they should be okay. But his system, what he does, seems to fit really well with that particular quarterback, just like Kyle Shanahan, where he, has the same system, fits really well with a Brock Purdy, right? And there's just some guys who you get a certain quarterback with a certain skill set that really fit what you do, and then you go out of that, even if that guy is really talented, it just doesn't work for how you want to put it together.
Thank you, Sal. We'll talk again tomorrow.
All right, guys. Thanks a lot.
That's our dude, Sal Capaccio, on the Western Hotline. His appearances are brought to you by New York's only outlet liquor. When you need to stock up, it's the place to buy a case. What's your outlet?
I respect that, and this came up earlier with respect to McDaniel. I think I prioritize the offensive mind over the CEO point. I think there are maybe some, not necessarily false judgments, but there are some leaps taken based on how he looks, what he wears, things like that, how he sounds.
Yeah.
But if I'm an owner or a GM, I want the witch with the play sheet, and maybe I put him with somebody. Is Fangio maybe this in his career to an extent? Somebody that's, more experienced. Not that he's hosting the press conferences, but what I really care more about than press conferences and image is the structure and the cohesiveness of my players and team. And I think that should be attainable. There are so many coaches on these teams to begin with. If you had a coach maybe like McDaniel is, I don't know, but that's sort of humble about what maybe his weaknesses are seen to be, then I think I'm okay. And I would love to have the guy who can make my offense sing and, figure out the other part.
But
If I had to pick between the two.
What I think you just described is he's your offensive coordinator. You have someone else be the head coach.
Maybe.
That's what I think you just described.
It depends on whether who I have as a head coach.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be afraid of him as a head coach, I think. I think I'd want to, I don't want to say insulate, but I'd want to try to get it right if there's something lacking.
I want to add one bit here because I thought right away, we heard the Harbaugh news late in our show on, was that Monday or Tuesday? Tuesday it was, because there was a Sabres game. I tweeted about it during an intermission. Like, Harbaugh's available, maybe Mike McDaniel's out. And it took a couple days, but we got there. It's also possible McDaniel met with ownership there and doesn't love the idea of continuing with Tua, and they finish strong, and maybe he feels like he can get out of there now, whereas if he stays there and they try to make it work with Tua again and it doesn't work, he's more damaged goods than he might be right now. They did finish strong, and that is to his credit, and maybe now just might have felt like a good time from his perspective to go do something else.
Maybe, but he would have had to be very calculated in how he expressed that, because he didn't quit.
Right.
He has a contract, and he's going to want his contract honored.
Right.
So he's, I don't know if I want to be here. It's something like that, maybe. There's a middle ground where
there's a way that you can maybe just give off a vibe that,
wear, shorts and sandals all the time.
Yes.
I don't know. I like McDaniel. Timeout, and now you do too.
Yes, I do.
Timeout for sports. We'll be right back. Sabres and Rangers at 6. Pregame anyway at 6 here on WGR.
Not too many changes from yesterday's official injury report for the Bills. The changes are Matt Milano and Matt Prater now going to full participants after not practicing yesterday. And then TJ Sanders, he was added with a shoulder injury, but was a full participant today. While for the Jaguars, a second straight missed day for left tackle Cole Van Lanen with a knee injury and cornerback Jerrion Jones with an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report, it is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-million. The major news, though, in the NFL today comes courtesy of the AFC. The Miami Dolphins, they have fired head coach Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons in charge. McDaniel was 0-2 in the playoffs in those 4 seasons, but the last 2 years, the Dolphins not even make the postseason. The Dolphins are also in the market for a general manager. For the Sabres, pregame's coming up in about a half hour as they're down in New York City to take on the Rangers. Puck drop at 7. Colton Ellis is expected to get the start in net for Buffalo. And then for the Rangers, with Igor Shesterkin on IR, the anticipation is it'll be Jonathan Quick in net for the Rangers. And in college football, the semifinals do start tonight with the Fiesta Bowl first up. Miami takes on Ole Miss at 7:30 for a spot in the national championship. Miami last played for a national title back in 2002, while for Ole Miss, they have never played for a national title, at least in the modern era, when there is a national championship game. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Headlines. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
I know you mentioned it earlier that they're just not going to be able to line up and play smash mouth with James Cook, but I think they have to start the game trying to do that. I really do. And then I think the other part that's important for Buffalo, let's get off to a fast start. Because if you get off to a fast start, Trevor's heart starts beating a little bit faster. He hasn't been in these situations as much as Josh has been in these situations, and we know how much playoff football is driven by the play of quarterbacks.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, from his podcast with Andrew Whitworth. We'll see them Saturday night probably. Prime has right. Packers Bears.
Righto. Yeah. I'm kind of unsettled. I twice this week the same thing has happened to me. Slightly different circumstances around it, but the same end result, which was getting scared. Really, scared is too strong. Startled enough to like that, right? Is that startled? That's not scared. Like, huh? What was that? Huh? By a William Shatner cutout.
Yeah, we have that here.
We have our promotions director. There's been a lot going on here. We've been like reformatting the building. There's been construction going on. There's a lot going on. In this William Shatner cutout, it's like 6 feet tall. It's like life-size William Shatner.
Bill, yeah.
And Sam, I think our promotions director, hangs lanyards around. There's like a collection of different events, whatever. Anyway, so and Shatner is outside of this office, and I think it was Monday I was out there. And I don't know why. I normally don't walk around with my phone. Like during commercial breaks, I go walk around I get stiff just sitting here for 4 hours. So I like to walk around. You do too. And
I do.
But for some reason, I had my phone with me. And on Monday, it buzzed just as I was passing Shatner. I wasn't thinking about Shatner, but I stopped there. There's some desks set up there, and I'm on my phone like answering a text with my back to Shatner.
Back to Shatner.
I had my back to Shatner.
You weren't thinking about Shatner.
And I wasn't thinking about Shatner. I hadn't even really, seen Shatner, but, it wouldn't stand out because he's always there. Shatner's omnipresent.
Doesn't move.
Right. But I had my back to Shatner, and I'm texting, and I don't know if I caught a reflection in my phone or what happened, but I had this moment where I went, like, ah! I turned around like someone was suddenly also working on this, is that there's never anyone here. Hardly during the day at all, but by this time of the day, there's no one here. Like there's 6 people here maybe, including the 3 of us, or 4 of us with G. There's maybe 4 other people. Anyway, whatever. There's just not
small
people.
Number.
So
not a lot.
That someone would be standing right behind me in a pretty narrow part of the building was weird, and it startled me, and I was like, oh, Shatner. Like I muttered Shatner to myself after. Just now, no phone, I'm walking. I didn't stop, but I wasn't looking at Shatner. I was looking at something on my right, and then out of the corner of my eye, I like literally went, ah! At Shatner twice. Shatner's got me twice in the last 3 days. I'm shook by Shatner. Shatner is shaking me.
I can't be the only person really enjoying how often you've said Shatner.
I feel like it's key to the whole bit here. That's why I'm continuing to say Shatner.
Are you a fan?
Of course.
Of course.
Of course. If for no, I don't care about Star Trek
Rocket
at all.
Man.
Rocket Man.
The Rocket Man
we
performance.
watched Rocket Man at 3 a.m. after coming home from bars more times, I think, than any other group of people could have ever watched Rocket Man.
Mm-hmm.
This is the early, like mid-'80s. We used to watch that constantly. Like we would have people over, some beers after the bars. You got the Shatner VHS? Yeah, put it in.
Literally going as far as to put a tape in to watch it. It's like 3 minutes long.
It was back in those days, yeah. You got to go find it. And it was a horrible, grainy copy of it, but we would sit there and just, in our drunken and Lord knows what else amazement, like, look at this. It's amazing.
Recommend the Chris Elliott version of the Shatner version of Rocket Man, by the way.
I have never seen the Chris Elliott version of the Shatner version of Rocket Man.
Hilarious. Basically just does it.
Anyway, Shatner's in my head now out there. Like I hope now that I've talked it out that I'll be more fully prepared to not be startled by the Shatner cutout, but it really freaked me out twice. Today was worse than Monday, which is weird because Monday happened.
Yeah.
But I really just like I made a sound.
Clearly.
And then
that's evident.
And Sparkle, our cleaning
I'm
lady,
was
nearby, but I was like, oh, I hope she didn't hear that.
It's embarrassing.
She didn't ask, like, what, are you okay? She didn't, so I'm guessing maybe she didn't.
I don't know why that's here, but I love that it's here.
I do too, except that it may have taken, I don't want to go years, but it may be like a half a day off my life.
Okay. You know how old he is?
89.
94.
Okay. Still going strong.
I don't know what he's doing. He went to space.
Yeah.
Not that long ago.
He looks
pretty good.
I'm going to just say he looks good, not even for 94.
Well, it's a cardboard cutout.
Well,
and then he's on a billboard, and these are not necessarily recent
That's
images.
right, but I feel like I've seen him recently enough to say, like, he don't look no 94 to me.
The picture of him on Wikipedia was taken in 2025, and I'm with you.
It's a good-looking man. He's taking good care of himself.
All right. Well,
I just wish he would stop. I just wish he would stop scaring me.
I'd love
in
to
the
see him
hallways.
lead the charge someday. Maybe that can happen. I don't know if he has any Bills ties. Tom is with us. Hello, Tom.
Hey, guys. Bulldog, very, very funny with the Shatner stuff. I'm a big fan. And, I'll sit there, I'll crack open a beer, and then I'll look at my phone, and they're scary, actually. It says, here's the number for AA. It's like, really?
That's a tough one.
Anyways, I want to talk to you guys about. I've been talking to some of my people, and the thing with Harbaugh, one of my friends said to me that he's holding out, see what happens with the Bills and the Packers. I'm just like, no. I mean, I got 2 points here. One thing is the opener. It was 4th and 2 they had. They could put that game away, and he punted, right? He's a punter, just like Tomlin. Same thing. What's he going to do different than McDermott goes for it all the time now? So that's what I want. And secondly, there's no way in hell the Bills are going to open a new stadium without Sean McDermott there.
I kind of feel that too. I do kind of feel that too. I think if this year had really unraveled to the point where they didn't make the playoffs, then maybe. But I have a very hard time seeing them make a move on him going into the new stadium. It doesn't. It's not my favorite point, but aesthetically, I'm inclined to agree. I've thought the same thing. That there's no way that's happening now, and I'm inclined to agree on Harbaugh too. Like I don't feel like that would be. I know he won a Super Bowl and McDermott hasn't, but I don't think that's. I don't think I'm really. It's a lateral move to me.
Did we talk about this walking out last night? I'm curious about his sex appeal, if you will, as a coaching candidate. Like he's an institution. I mean, 18 years with one team,
right,
and a lot of success. There's no picking at that. But 64 years old, not 94, but 64 years old, and he's not. I don't think he's going to be seen as come fix my quarterback. Come open up my offense. I mean, Jackson did happen, that it went a little bit awry. I don't know. I think somebody could love him. We did talk about this walking out the door last night.
It was,
sort of it's a big statement about your organization. It's a big get, Harbaugh. So I think there is that, but I'm not sure I would love it if I was like Tennessee or a team that, all right, well, he's going to bring Cam Ward along, who's 40 years younger than he is.
Tennessee more needs like this year's Ben Johnson. If he's
or Cohen, right? Somebody younger, and maybe I'm stereotyping a little.
Yeah, I think the Raiders might make sense for not that they won't have a quarterback to bring along, but they need. I mean, they tried this with Pete Carroll. That's why it might be weird, but the credibility and the authority of look at the Raiders is not a great idea because they just did this. That is what Pete Carroll was, right? But
yes,
I feel like if they want to try that again, I don't know. Like Harbaugh, there's a seal of approval that you get with a guy like that the new hot fresh coordinator doesn't have. Doesn't mean it's a better idea, but if you're looking for someone to sort of stabilize the situation, I feel like that's a really good. He's to me, he's culture. He is like McDermott in that way. I think he would just almost just by his presence be like, okay, I guess we're not fooling around anymore. This guy's our coach. I guess we better straighten up.
Credibility. That's right. But that might not be everybody's biggest need, as an organization. Right. The Dolphins would be a team that could, make that case.
Yep.
Think that they have that need. I think that could work. Thanks, Tom. We'll be back after a timeout. Sabres and Rangers tonight. Pregame coming up soon, 6 o'clock here on WGR. Welcome back. Tomorrow, Sam Panayotovich, Sal Capaccio, and in between, Sam Monson. We haven't talked to Sam in a while. That'll be our Friday lineup. Sabres and Rangers tonight. Paul Hamilton joins us in about 12 minutes. How about what happened last night in Chicago with the Blues goalies? What was said about that?
What I know, what I thought when I woke up this morning, it was one of the first things that came across my social media feed. I think I might have even seen it on Facebook. It looked like Hofer, the backup goalie. What happened, for folks who don't know, I'll lay it out quickly. The Blues are getting clobbered in Chicago. There's like 7 minutes to go, and they give up a 7th goal. Bennington has been in for all of them for the Blues. And the coach, Montgomery, decides he wants to make a change. But the backup is not where he normally is. Now, Chicago's a little weird. It's one of these places where you're not on the bench, you're like sort of behind the bench, not, away like by a Zamboni door, like Toronto, I think, can be like that, or Montreal. Anyway.
Carolina.
But it's not right on the bench, right? But he's bench adjacent. But he wasn't in the spot. So Montgomery, motioned to Bennington. Bennington kind of nodded, acknowledging, you're going to want me to come out. But he's waiting, which is customary. You're waiting until the other guy throws his leg over the boards, and then you pass each other. And
right, that is what usually happens.
Right, and Hofer's nowhere to be seen. And I saw a video of him then, sort of with his gear on, peeking out around the edge, looking out at the coach. Does he see me? Does he
It's
know I'm
really
here?
funny.
It is really funny. I'm not sure if that video wasn't edited in some way. What the coach said happened. And he could just be trying to cover it up. I don't know. But he said, I'm fine with everybody. What happened is Hofer thought it was late enough in the game. He was in the dressing room, had the top half of his gear off, had the chest protector off and the jersey off. Just had the bottom half of his gear on because there's, it's the second half of the third period. You haven't pulled the guy yet. You're not going to pull him now. And so.
Wrong.
Yeah, I guess, right? Because he wanted to pull him, but the backup wasn't there. So Montgomery explained that it was not what it looked like. It wasn't like Hofer showing him up. Or Bennington, but I don't know. The optics looked really weird. It looked to me like Hofer was, you're not going to pull him with 7 minutes to go, which, again, if he was in the room half undressed, that's what he was definitely thinking, but it might not have been intentional. He didn't mean to show the coach up.
That seems like something that would not be cool.
You're right.
If you just left the bench and went and got changed.
Right.
The guys on the 86 Mets might have done that a couple of times, but
right.
I don't think you'd want that.
No.
You never see the goalies just disappear during games, for good. So that's a bad job. But the video, it's 20 seconds. The camera is in the perfect spot across the way to sort of see down the hallway.
Right.
And you just got the guy with the mask on, his head sideways, looking out. Does he see me? Hello? Hi?
Yeah.
Like he's playing hide and seek or something.
I feel like that happened after, when in the moment, want to change the goalie, he's not here, they're looking around. I don't see Hofer in that picture at all. It's the same camera angle. You can't see him initially. And eventually Montgomery's like, okay, well, they're going to drop the puck. They drop the puck. And then you see Hofer later. Maybe he threw his gear on once he realized that maybe somebody got word to him, dude, they want you. And that's why he's peeking out there am I in trouble? I'm sorry, I didn't have my equipment on.
But he never does go in, right?
He never did go in. No, they just wrote it out with Bennington at the end.
They didn't get scored on anymore.
No.
6 minutes to go in the game, and 7-3.
Right.
Was the score and
Speaking
the final.
of goalies being pulled, did you hear at all about what happened between New Jersey and the Islanders the other night?
9-0.
9-0, and Markstrom was in for every bit of it for New Jersey. You know who the Islander coach is, right?
Patrick Waugh?
Yeah. And that is kind of hilarious. It's I mean, Markstrom is not Patrick Waugh, right? Doesn't have the resume, the reputation, but famously, Waugh was left in to twist in the wind in a game against Detroit where they gave up. He gave up 8 or 9. He gave up a ton of goals, and then finally went to the bench and walked past ownership and glaring at the coach and I'm done here. And then he got traded. So Waugh's on the bench watching Markstrom just get roasted for 9 goals, which was kind of interesting to me.
Mario Tremblay maybe is the Canadians coach.
Yeah, that's
for
right.
That.
That's right.
I think I went to the next game at the Forum after that trade. Tebow.
Wow, that's amazing.
They would have gotten Tebow in the trade.
Right.
future Sabre.
Yeah.
Jocelyn Thibault starting for Montreal against the Rangers. It was the last game between those two teams ever at the Forum.
One other goalie nugget, Glenn Hall passed away yesterday.
Yep.
Incredible Hall of Fame career. Red Wings, Blackhawks, Blues. 502 consecutive starts as a goalie. You want to talk about, it's not the home run record. It's not that nobody is ever got 502 NHL regular season games started in a row, which is insane. Like, we freak out here if somebody plays, back-to-backs now in this era. 502 NHL games in a row.
How many without a mask?
Amazing. Maybe all of them? I don't even know. Maybe by the time he was with the Blues, he was wearing a mask.
I think so.
There's also a great highlight that made the rounds of him. I don't know if you saw it. I'll try to find it and retweet it for everybody because I brought up Glenn Hall. There's a play that happened, I think, while he's with the Blues, where a delayed penalty is called, and he's going to skate up the ice, and he ends up with the puck, like at his own blue line.
Let's go.
And makes a perfect pass to a forward who goes in and scores.
Nice. Primary assist.
Like, he is skating. He's like a skater. He's got the play. He's out there, and he just passes it across the neutral zone. Guy goes in and scores a goal.
We'll ask Paul for his memories of Glenn Hall as we continue toward Sabres pregame. That's next. Mike Schopp and the Bulldog here. This is WGR.
City as they get ready to take on the Rangers. Puck drop at 7, pregame getting underway next. For the Sabres, Colton Ellis expected to get the start in net. And then for the Rangers, with Igor Shesterkin on IR, the anticipation is that they will be going with Jonathan Quick in net. We've also got 10 other games tonight in the league. Some of the notables include, also at 7, Montreal hosting Florida and the Flyers. They have the Maple Leafs in town. 9 p.m., the Sens are in Colorado versus the Avalanche. Then 2 games at 10. Vegas hosts the Blue Jackets and the Wild. They are in Seattle versus the Kraken. To the Bills, not too many changes from yesterday's official injury report. Matt Milano and Matt Prater are now full participants after not practicing yesterday. And then TJ Sanders, he was added to the injury report with a shoulder injury, but was a full participant. While for the Jaguars, a second straight missed day for left tackle Cole Van Lanen with a knee injury and cornerback Jarian Jones with an illness. The Barnes Firm Injury Report is brought to you by the Barnes Firm. Injured for help, call 1-800-8-million. And then the major news in the NFL today came courtesy of the Miami Dolphins. They have fired head coach Mike McDaniel after 4 seasons in charge. McDaniel was 0-2 in the playoffs in those 4 years, and the last 2 years they didn't even make the postseason. The Dolphins are also in the market for a general manager. And then to college football, the semifinals get underway tonight. The Fiesta Bowl is first up. Miami takes on Ole Miss for a spot in the national championship. Miami last played for a national title in 2002, while Ole Miss, they've never played for a national title, at least in the modern era, with a championship game. And then tomorrow is going to be the Peach Bowl as Indiana takes on Oregon. That's your Paddock Chevrolet Sports Update. Paddock Chevrolet celebrating 90 years of being your hometown dealership. I'm Zach Jones for WGR Sports Radio 550.
Yes, we are your host. The Sabres and New York Rangers tonight in Manhattan. Thanks for joining us for pregame coverage. Paul Hamilton is literally at the game and will check in very shortly. The Sabres off a fun win over Vancouver earlier this week are now 22-19, 22-15-4. Looks pretty good.
Fun works. I watched the game. It was fun.
Fun.
Got a little. It
was
was nerve-wracking at the end. Is fun.
That's fun. That's right. That's part of the fun. Is it getting close. 4-0 to 4-3 in pretty short order.
Yep.
Then 5-3 the final. 48 points for Buffalo, good for 4th place alone in the Atlantic Division, and this is 1 point out of a playoff spot, which would be Pittsburgh's. Pittsburgh and Washington possess the 2 wildcard positions at the moment, but it's all very close. The Rangers are not in a playoff position. 20-24 is their record, or 20-18-6, like the pros do it. 46 points, just ahead of Columbus in, again, a very tight, congested metropolitan division. Tuesday with Vancouver, I guess before the turnaround, had me reminiscing a little bit. You know, you had big saves early, early lead, and good goals. Like, it was kind of one of those nights where this is getting interesting.
Yeah, the plays that were made for the goals were really pretty. I'm glad you mentioned big saves early, because Luukkonen, while I would say the third of the 3 Vancouver goals was one he would probably like back, the other 2, I don't think there's really anything you could fault him on. He made, during that first penalty kill, there's a wild scramble where he desperately, he makes, big saves there. But right after that, I think it's still on the same power play for Vancouver, there are 2 plays right in the slot. Like, there's an open guy in the slot, and he is just right out there on top of the crease, makes the first save. The rebound goes right back to either the same guy or another player, and he's just so in control, just so squared up that he makes the second save look pretty easy. But that was, man, those were really good. And those are just 2 I'm singling out. He really was, I thought, a difference maker in the game early. That game could have very easily been 2-0 before the Sabres struck. But then they got going, and Thompson made a great play for his goal to fight for the space in front of the net and score. And then the 2-on-1 with Tuck and McLeod was beautiful. So, yeah, and he even got Zach Metza getting his first NHL goal. Turns out to be the game winner in the third period to make it 4-0 before Vancouver scored 3 in about 6.5 minutes.
That's what they were going for.
They wanted Metza to have the game winner?
Yeah, they had to give up 3. Exactly 3 for that to be the case. Paul Hamilton with us now from Madison Square Garden. First visit of the season by the Sabres to New York, and there will be one more in April. These teams met on opening night, and that was a Rangers 4-0 win. Paul, your thoughts on the Vancouver game?
Yeah, same thing. And I think what maybe messed Luukkonen up on the third goal is Byram went down too soon. And the Vancouver shooter just walked around him. And Luukkonen, I think, found himself caught back in his crease, which gave him the far side to hit from there. Normally, like he was when he made those 2 saves on Sherwood, he was out and made those saves where he was back in his net. But I was wondering if maybe that messed him up when Byram went down way too soon.
Could be, yeah.
And he just danced right around him. But you're right. The first 2 goals, there's really not much he could do about it. And he did make some great saves. I thought, he showed that desperation on that first penalty kill. And he had teammates right around him doing the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, they were all showing desperation there, which I thought, was good. And they kept the puck out of the net. And, we're able to, finally get things going there. Because Vancouver had 7 shots by that. I think they were out shooting the Sabres 7-2, and all 7 were on the power play. I mean, they were all on that one power play. And, Buffalo, by the end of the night, Vancouver had 12 shots on the power play, Buffalo none.
Yeah.
And that was really the difference in why the shots were so goofy the other way. You take if it's 0-0 on the power plays, it's 23-20, the shots on net. So, Vancouver kept shooting on the power play. And what really turned the tide was Tage Thompson taking the double minor for high sticking. And right before the first penalty ended, Rangers scored. That was the first goal. But it was the double minor that kind of got them back in the game and got them going.
Right. One other thing I want to mention from Tuesday night, and it involves the crowd. Because I thought, and my son pointed this out, I think, on Twitter. Paul, I don't know if he was sitting with you and if you guys talked about this. But late in that, when it's 4-3, before the empty netter, and it's tense, right? I know how I felt. I know we've all been through it, and this team, as recently as last year, had a lot of trouble in moments where, here's adversity, and we're tense, and just all jittery. And I was feeling every bit of that, as much as you can feel for a January game. But they're in a race here, and I'm kind of tense. And the crowd, instead of not that I would expect them to be booing, but I would expect them to be tense. Someone started chanting, "Let's go Buffalo," and it sort of got going. And I thought that was really impressive for this fan base to not just be sitting there with their heads in their hands, panicking that they're going to watch this team blow a 4-0 third period lead in about 6 or 7 minutes. Not only that, they got that going, and then Benson made a play to take the puck away, and they cheered like a crowd in Montreal would cheer. Montreal gets all this credit for having this heady crowd that appreciates the nuances. Benson makes a neutral zone takeaway, and you would have thought somebody scored a goal. I just want to give the fans so resilient, after all they've been through, to in that moment not be panicked, instead just sort of rally the troops a little bit. I thought it was a really nice moment.
In the past, they would have been on him after the second goal. The boos would have been flying down, and they would have been all over him.
Yeah.
Good for Lindy Ruff, too, to call the timeout. And Lindy Ruff was not animated. I was watching over there. I could tell he wasn't yelling and screaming. And he said afterwards, he goes, basically, I just told him to calm down. Go play your game. He goes, what is our game? He goes, we got to go win some battles on the wall. He goes, and basically just play your game the way you're supposed to play it, and you're going to be fine. Look at the third periods they've been playing since Seattle. Protecting leads and that type of thing. Well, it got down to a one-goal lead, and then they protected it well. They got the empty netter, and they were all set. So, but, I thought it was a good place to call a timeout. It drives me crazy when coaches, have that opportunity and don't take it, then they go into the locker room with their timeout at the end of the game and they wind up losing the game. I thought it was a good place to call it. And Lindy didn't show any panic in himself. He just basically told the guys, you're fine. Just go out and play like you can, like you have lately, and you're going to be fine. And that's what they did.
Are we going to get Colton Ellis tonight, Paul? It'll be his first appearance in almost a month.
I believe so, yeah. I mean, Lindy Ruff didn't confirm it, but everything in practice yesterday told us that. When the interview you hear with Colton Ellis, he is very excited to be playing in Madison Square Garden, so he basically let the cat out of the bag. But practice kind of told us, too, even though Lindy Ruff wasn't going to tell us. But, I would be shocked if Colton Ellis is not in net.
I wonder how big a game this is for his standing within the team and just his NHL future. They're still carrying 3 goalies. Lyon is on IR for now, and that's not expected to be real long, right? Did we hear about a week type of thing with him?
7 to 10 days.
Okay, so if he's ready to come back soon, but I'll bet Ellis really feels like he needs to put a good performance on the board tonight, because I still feel like he'll be the odd man out if they decide to, divest themselves of one of these 3.
Well, when it was said, because Kevin Adams never spoke, he hadn't spoken since the first day of training camp, but so he never gave the reason why he grabbed Ellis or whatever. But Lindy Ruff said they had their eye on him for a while, and when the opportunity came up, they had to take that opportunity. Well, Jarmo Kekalainen, he's not Kevin Adams, so we don't know if Kekalainen thinks the same way about him or how he feels about him.
I did hear him say something similar about Ellis, just almost quoting what you just said. We had our eye on him for a while, we claimed him for a reason, that kind of thing. I've read that attached to Kekalainen. But
one thing I liked about Ellis is nothing has been too big for him in his rookie year here. And this is the 3rd time now he's had to wait a while in between starts, including his first start in the NHL. I don't even know which playoff or preseason game he played in St. Louis, but just from the time he was claimed until the time he got in net, I think it was October 22nd when he got in net, was 16 days. And he played really, really well. And then there was one game he did not play well at all. I think it was the Utah game. Mm-hmm. And then there was the Edmonton game after a fairly long layoff, and he only gave up 1 goal. So he's done this. This is the third, he's done this pretty well. 2 out of the 3 times he's had to wait for a start. He's been ready.
How about the rest of it, Paul? I mentioned Metza had the game-winning goal. He and Bryson on a pair seemed stable enough. I didn't check the numbers and stuff, but it seemed like that worked out all right.
I asked Lindy about that, and he said pretty much that we do spot them, but he said, I can put them out there. I'm not afraid to put them out there. He said, I think they're both playing very well. He said, I think they're meshing pretty well as a pair. He goes, I like both of them on the breakout. Their passes are good. They're crisp. They're out. So even though they're not playing over 20 minutes like the top 4 are, I've liked them too. That's why I asked the question. I don't think they've embarrassed themselves at all, and I think they've played pretty well for, a 5-6 defensive pair.
And I think the top 4 are very much on a heater. Not that them jumping into the offense is uncommon, but man, I just felt like Tuesday night, all 4 of those other guys were everywhere.
Yeah, and somebody asked Lindy about, you changed the pairs a little bit. He goes, you know what? He goes, any of them can play with any of them. He goes, Dahlin and Samuelson had a little bit of problem getting scored on for a game or 2, so he switched it. But he said it really doesn't matter. He goes, the way they all are playing right now, he goes, I can put anybody out with anybody, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I like seeing. I think we saw power with Dahlin for a shift or 2, or maybe more than that on Tuesday. And yeah, I'm here for that. I think just different looks can throw an opponent off. Just different pairs like that. And if they've got that flexibility, I'm all for it.
Yeah, definitely. And I've liked Owen Power's game much better recently. I think he's been better. I think his coverages have been much better. I mean, that was the big thing with me is he would diagnose the play and be there, but he wouldn't cover the guy.
Right.
But he seems to be, I think, a little bit better at that.
And Samuelson again. There was a play or 2. I know at least one comes to mind where a guy standing there. I don't even know how dangerous a play it was, but just the goalie's got the puck, and Samuelson just leveled somebody right outside the crease. Like, he got the memo this year. There's no question about that.
Message received. That is the message Lindy Ruff has had for him since he got here. And starting this year, message was received. Probably the message was received after Tage Thompson went flying down.
Paul, I guess I'm overlooking the fact that we usually ask you about tonight's opponent with our spotlight look at the Rangers, brought to you by Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. When it's game time, it's Tully time.
No Shesterkin and no Fox. I think they're going to get JT Miller back. He practiced fully yesterday. He had been out for a while. But this is a team, this is one of the worst teams in the league at home. They're 5-10-4 at home. They've only won 2 of their last 7 here at MSG. So might be something the Sabres can take advantage of, because if you recall, the Sabres are 7-1 in their last 8 road games. So that would go into the Sabres' favor, but you never know. So, and Quick will be in goal. He actually has been a Sabre killer throughout his career, so we'll see if they can break through on Quick.
Very good. Thanks, Paul.
There you go. Paul's appearance with us, brought to you by Equitable Advisors. Planning for your future is about more than just money. Let Equitable be your guide. And by Relax Honda. Relax, we got this.
Sort of in the Ed McMahon role there during that conversation with Paul.
Oh, sorry. Did I
nodding?
Did I dominate?
No, I enjoyed it.
I didn't mean to.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought you asked the right questions. Paul gave some good insight, a little good back and forth
I
there.
guess I got
enjoyed
rolling.
it.
I should have left a little more room.
That's fine, but I'll just leave. That's cool. No, it's fine. I actually am leaving.
You are going to leave.
Lindy Ruff here.
I know the defending part.